All right. Welcome to this meth lab. Today I'm on the Mack down panel, motherfuckers. All right.
What's up?
We're just having a panel. We got me in the top left there. We got Emery in the top right. Kayembo in the Kimbo. Kayembo.
Kimbo.
Yeah, Kimbo.
Kimbo. Okay, I've always called you Kayembo. And C. Mackle on the bottom right. C. Mackle put this together. He's also going to moderate. And the first topic we are going to talk about is the White Claw stuff. We're going to talk about the array
Situation
of peanut gallery takes on the drama regarding this person's twit longer about their abuse. Emery says he disagrees with Mr. Girl's position about it.
Regarding whether or not she was raped, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So, Emery, do you have the twit longer? I can summarize if you like, but I have it up right now.
I have the twit longer. Do you want me to link it to you, or do you want me to read it?
Oh no, I have it up as well.
Yeah, summarize it for me, buddy.
Okay, yeah. So I think, so to my knowledge, Spicy White so Spicy White Claw is the person on Twitter who exposed this whole fiasco, and then she was talking about a person named Rich, who I believe was like a Call of Duty caster or something like that. I'm not sure 100%, but that's, to my knowledge, that's the situation here. So I think what happened is Rich in this situation, okay, so they had a relationship for 4 years. She felt like she was being used for sex. So I think she kind of stopped communicating with him. Rich asked to see her, asked to hang out with her, go see a movie, go to his hotel and stuff like that. She affirmed that she didn't want to sleep with him. He said, or he I think accepted that at first. They went to his hotel. They were in the lobby, and she didn't really want to go up to his hotel room. He kind of insisted, said they might get kicked out. So then she agreed, I think, in that situation. Went up to the hotel room. He started masturbating in front of her. She said she didn't want to have sex. He tried to take her clothes off. She said she didn't want to have sex. And then I think it was a little bit of a gray area situation where she says he was masturbating, tried to take my clothes off. I didn't want to. But then it ended with him ejaculating inside of her, I think. So
Yeah.
that's the situation to my knowledge. There's a little bit of a gray area in like how that came to pass. Like, did he forcefully do that, or did she allow him to? But I think the main moral of the story is he was pushing her boundaries
Yeah.
until she broke.
She clearly is upset about it. And it isn't a like kosher situation. But the question is, Emery is very passionately disagreeing with the Mr. Girl take. He's saying it's like a really bad idea. Mr. Girl saying it's not rape, but he's saying it's still sexual misconduct. Emery says it is rape.
It's rape.
I think that it's a gray area. I think that from the information we know, it could be rape, but it also could be sexual misconduct. And I think it's morally, I'm not sure morally if we should come down hard on one side or the other. What do you think, KMO, from hearing that?
Would you agree with me that she definitely felt raped?
Um, I know, I don't know. I don't know. Did she say it was rape in the twit longer?
I don't believe so.
Let me
I can
bring
double
it up.
check in a minute, but let me let me double check. But I don't think she ever used the word rape. But I definitely feel like she would have said it.
I
I think
think.
she does feel it.
Okay, wait. I don't think she wrote rape, but in the twit longer she says, um, in a sentence about her expectations, she says when speaking out about sexual assault. So
Hmm.
she called it sexual assault, and
Hmm.
then in Mr. Girl's tweet, he says, I don't think that this is sexual assault.
Right,
Um,
right.
so that those are the words used. Um, but I think it's fair to conflate that with rape
Yeah,
for the
so
most part.
yeah, okay. So sexual assault would mean that he forced himself on her. He assaulted her. Um, and the Mr. Girl opinion is that there's no evidence that he forced himself upon her, and there's a lot of room for her to have left, and she just kept coalescing to him. And it's not acceptable for him to be pushing and to be a sexual pest and to be like being so persistent, and it's like it's condemnable. But it just his position is it's just purely not assault, and I think that I agree. But yeah.
I would say because he kept grabbing at her and she repeatedly, I don't know how often, but she basically said, I repeatedly said no. And she never indicates that she ever said yes verbally or anything like that. I would say that that all leads up to her feeling pressured to have intercourse. And by that metric, I would say it might not be like a violent rape or anything, but it definitely made her feel violated and raped. I would say. I would say strongly coerced. Yeah.
So is
So
that the,
another
the total amount of information that we have about like everything that you
pretty
summarized?
much another bit of information, they had been
Yes.
in a like long-term like sexual fling type relationship, and throughout this whole relationship he had been sexually pestering her, and she talked about how in the past like when like how he would behave in like a kind of a fucked up way where something like she would leave him for another guy and he would get jealous, but then she'd be single and he'd be just not the right way to, I don't know, just he just isn't handling the relationship with the sexual relationship with the type of candor, the type of emotional responsibility that he should, and he's not treating her right. But it sounds like that's basically the nature of their entire relationship, and it's culminated in this one event.
So I mean, like it's pretty cut and dry. If somebody says no, and then you end up coming inside of them, that's rape,
Hmm.
or some sort of sexual assault. But there's clearly like a lot of info missing here, so I couldn't make any judgment.
Yeah, I really don't know. Honestly, uh, I think that I when I hear the argument Mr. Girl made, it is a compelling argument that um, she was like putting herself in a situation where like she could have left at any point, and there was no information. Like if we learned that she was being forced to stay there for any reason, that would like change it dramatically. But she could have left at any point. She just kept staying. It's like you're with somebody who you've had a fling with for a long period of time. They start jerking off in front of you, and you're like, stop, and you just stay in the room with them, and then you just keep talking, and you stay laying on the bed next to them, and then they're like, I'm gonna finish inside you, and they roll you over, and they put their dick inside you, and I don't know. I feel like there's credibility to the question as to how much agency she had in leaving the situation, and in particular how little agency, how much agency she lacked. But it seems like she had a lot of agency to leave. So it sounds like she more coalesced, and he was being a sexual pest. Um, but if there were more information, then I would just come down as it being rape. But I think it's worthwhile to not come down immediately on the rape thing without that more information.
So I don't necessarily. I'm not saying that this is the case, but I know a lot of sexual assault victims report like freezing up, and so even being able to say no is like more than people that are like full on definitely raped like are able to do sometimes. So I mean, if she expressed no and it happened, that's kind of dry right there as far as I'm
Yeah.
concerned. But like I said, there's like a million in between steps missing here. So I don't know.
I wanna clarify some more like semantic terms. So I just want to get your definitions. So for you, Kimbo and Emery, and for Smith as well, I want to hear your interpretations of this. So if somebody, if a guy is trying to have sex with a girl and she says no, do you think that there's any way that she can give consent in a way that isn't saying yes at that point? Like, do you think that acquiescing counts as any form of consent?
I'll respond first. I think a verbal no establishes a pretty firm boundary. I think it would take a little bit more time before, like, I don't know what the duration of time would be, but just a little bit more time before, like, a non-consenting or a non-verbal yes or something like that would be considered, an adequate thing to give the other partner consent. I would say, like, them not being like forceful or rapey or something like that. I think
Yeah.
a little bit of duration of time between that first verbal no, I'm not ready, or something like that.
I don't know about time, but I think that you can have a verbal no with non-verbal yeses that are very clear. And I
Yeah.
think like that can absolutely be the case. I don't think that is the case here. It sounds like there was not a non-verbal yes. It was more just a coalescing, which is definitely a lot worse.
As far as
Wait,
we're
do,
aware
do
of,
you,
yeah.
to clarify, do you mean like she was? Do you mean acquiescing?
Yes,
Okay, that's what.
coalescing
Yeah,
is a
yeah,
different.
yeah.
I guess I'm using the wrong word. Um, yeah, it sounds like she acquiesced, and that's not the
Okay.
same as a non-verbal yes. Um,
Coalesce
it's
works too. Come together to
yeah.
form one mass or whole.
Oh yeah, I guess. Yeah.
It seems like begrudgingly kind of just accepting it, and it turned into something more traumatizing over time, I guess.
Is it well, okay, so I agree that the story and her feelings are absolutely like it's not like I'm trying to say that her feelings are wrong or like that nothing bad happened, but to make this less loaded, what do you guys think it's okay to ever acquiesce in a sexual situation? Are you allowed to acquiesce without you being raped? Because I feel like you can acquiesce. And if you decide to acquiesce, you can. But does that make the other person a rapist?
Um, I have to think about it more before I give a like solid answer. But
That's the blurry line I'm talking about.
for now, my answer would be like, I don't think so. Um, I don't know, because it seems like a risky thing for both parties. I don't know, like, it doesn't
Yeah.
seem. Yeah, I have to think about it a little bit more though. That's a good question.
It
I
only really
gotta.
makes sense in the context of like a long-term relationship where you've had sex many times before, and it's like, well, I kind of just want to do it, and they're like, oh, I don't really want to, and they're like, I mean, I just really want to, and it's like, I mean, I can totally, I've done that, so, and
I
I don't,
think it would be. I think it would be valid to say that you maybe raped. Maybe there needs to be a more toned down word, but I think there would be an acceptance of like, hey, I felt like I was like coerced or something, but like it not be so extreme. You know what I mean?
well, the thing
Uh,
about monogamy, or like, I guess this wasn't monogamy, but the thing about a ongoing sexual relationship is there is always an element of coercion.
yeah, but I guess it depends on what level it is where it's inappropriate. Like
So
like
I would
like
say that
like a Harvey Weinstein type. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
there's definitely an element of coercion in relationships, like exactly you said. I don't feel like it's anything, but I really do. But I would say if you're at the point where your significant other is calling you out on social media in front of a large audience and saying that you raped them, then you have misread the signals. You have misread that situation.
Yeah. Yeah.
See,
Yeah.
like for me, maybe because I'm a paranoid mind, but if I was with a woman and she was like, "No, I don't feel comfortable already," like right now, I'd immediately just be like, "Okay, yeah, no, we're not having sex for the rest of the night. Fuck this." Maybe that's my paranoid mind. Um, but maybe that's also a mix of like, do I actually believe like she can revoke consent at a duration of time that seems like okay with both parties? I don't know. Like, it's hard to really tell.
Okay, like this is not a good situation. This guy fucked up 100%.
Oh yeah. Regardless, I think
My
everyone can
thinking
agree
my
he did like something wrong here.
my
Really.
thinking is that to say that her acquiescing makes it rape takes a lot of agency away from her, such that it disempowers. It's setting a standard for women where like because I feel like men can acquiesce and it's fine, but if women acquiesce it's not fine. I think that women can be adults and do that. They need to be empowered to make that decision for themselves. And if they do freeze up and I don't imagine men freeze up in that situation quite as much, and I think it's a gendered dynamic, and I think that we should empower women to decide for themselves in that situation, unless there was some like real he was keeping her in the room, or like she was like gonna be staying there and she had no other place to go, then that's like another layer of power on top of it. But it seems like she had the power to leave, so she had another place to stay, and by staying there she was forfeiting that.
Yeah. Here's my only problem with that because I generally agree with you, and I also think like, man, that there's there was a way to get out of this like so easy. Like you just had to walk away, not even say no, just walk away. But I feel like I don't want to say victim blaming because I don't think that's the case either. But I think there's a level to like. I think there's levels to this where it's like, all right, well, she described how their friendship was, how their past relationship was, how her intentions were to be like friends and stuff like that. I could see why she chose to stay with him like to up to that point, regardless of the boundaries being broken, because she felt like, oh, I need to feel like there's a real connection here, like as friends, like I want somebody to like give a shit about me. So I can
That
understand in her frame of
that
mind why
part
she would do
that part though, like that makes it seem like it's not rape.
No. I mean, she could have acquiesced, if we're gonna use the word. She could have been uncomfortable, but acquiesced to everything right up until the last second. And the situation as described, that's still definitely rape. If at the last second she was like, "I don't want him to come at me," that's still definitely
Yeah,
rape.
you know.
He is complete. He is complete. Just with the information we have, her agency is not a question here. She expressed her desire and like clearly is unhappy with the result of the situation. So just going off that, like that dude is fucked up.
Yeah, I think I'm agreeing with you. I think that it's a lot safer to just trust her judgment and her recollection of the events, and I don't. Yeah, I guess.
Oh, I would want to hear his side of the story too, and I'm
Yeah,
not
before making
necessarily.
any final judgments, we would want to hear his side.
Yeah, and I wouldn't necessarily believe either of them. I'm just saying, like, if we
Yeah.
just take everything that's there currently as the sum total of the facts, then it looks damning.
Because for all we know, It has happened before, and I'm not saying this happened in this time, but before all we know, she's just
Well, okay, wait.
greatly.
Wait, hold on, hold on. The real
Desperation.
question, sorry. The real question is, did she let him do that, or was she not letting him, and he did it anyway? Like just because I don't know. It's like you say no, and then you let someone do it anyway. It's like
No, you got no
Um,
obligation to fight. You got no obligation to retreat.
I would say once you establish that you verbally establish that you're not comfortable with it, regardless if she lets him do it, because again, we have to keep in mind that like women freeze up and they get like really like scared of like saying no further on or like trying to fight them. I would say she begrudgingly accepted something that she didn't want, and therefore, by that point, I would say it's right.
yeah, but in that begrudgingly accepted is also the word accepted.
Yeah, but like we have to keep in mind that like there's rape is a spectrum. There's so many different ways to feel violated, feel raped. Like we usually think of like rape as in uh like a violent, like unaccepting moment. But there's a lot of things that can put us in like positions of feeling powerless and vulnerable that I think we just often uh, neglect because like when
If
we
you
think of
have
rape, it's like the worst
sex,
thing possible.
if you have sex with someone that you didn't want to have sex with, and they wanted to have sex with you, and
Yeah.
you go through with it, does that mean that because and the feeling that you're gonna have is called regret? Does that mean you were raped?
Um.
Because we're
If
talking
you
about
said
that
no,
I know, but the only difference between this situation and that is that she said no. Um, she said
Well,
no, and he kept
she
persisting.
repeated. She
She's
repeatedly said
yeah,
no.
she repeatedly said no. He repeatedly kept persisting. She stayed in the situation though, like even though I'm under the impression she had another place to stay, and then by staying with him, she forfeit her other place to stay, and that
Mhm.
makes it a big that's a big that's a significant factor because it proves that there wasn't this power dynamic where she should have been afraid or like she should have like she had the power to leave. That was on the table, and she forfeited to stay in that situation.
I think
Like
it's fair to say that she can be afraid of him in two different ways. So one way it could be obviously the physical repercussions. If she gets too physical and fighting back, and then she can also feel afraid of how their relationship will be after not accepting him wanting to have sex with her then there as a friendship.
but
So there's two different
that part we're
things.
talking that how the relationship will be thing is just the layer of coercion that exists within all these types of sexual dynamics and ongoing relationships. Like if you want to keep having this sexual relationship, that's the level of coercion that applies because sometimes the other person's going to have sex and you won't, or you won't as much, and sometimes you will. That probably happens a lot. That does happen a lot, to
I
different
got
degrees.
sure, yeah. I got a question for you. Would you feel like you raped somebody if they repeatedly said no while you're taking off like their
Yeah.
clothes and then you still ended up fucking them? Would you feel like you raped them?
Yeah.
So, I don't know why it's different in this case for you exactly.
Wait, hold on. Do you think that in this situation, do you think that the guy who you're calling a rapist, Rich, do you think that he felt like what he did was rape?
Alleged, by the way. I don't know. Like allegedly a rapist. I don't know. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
What was
for
the
sure.
question again? One more time.
Well, I'm just curious because I think what's weird about the situation is that I don't know if she felt like she was raped in the moment. It seems like I think in the story, she's continued to stay at his place
Mhm.
even after the situation had transpired. And then he also, I mean, he was saying like, oh, you shouldn't leave or something, but it doesn't seem like either of them thought it was rape until after the fact, and then maybe she came to the realization like later.
Yeah, it's very possible that she, in the spur of the moment, wasn't really considering it being rape. She definitely probably felt violated and there was something inappropriate going on. She clearly was not comfortable as far as the story is being told. And him in his horny state of mind or whatever he's thinking is not thinking clearly about what the moral implications of what he's doing by violating those boundaries. Yeah, I don't know. Like, I would
Could it
say
could it be that you just have a broader definition of rape than Smith does?
I don't think so. I think I have the normal standard definition of rape.
I think we're applying very different weights to different types of communication. Like in so like I think like the standard way of thinking, like, modernly, not the 1920s, is saying like, well, we can't mind read, so you have to can't blame the victim for whatever they do. If they decide to sit there and do nothing, if they decide to scream and fight, if they say, hey, if they seem totally fine with it and then a month later decide they're not totally fine with it, the modern way of thinking is like, well, that's all, that's all normal victim behavior. It doesn't mean that something bad didn't happen. So, first, that's one thing that we are weighing differently. Another thing is like, we can't mind read, so we have to go by the actual like physical like interactions, and like the best way to judge somebody's state of being is what they're saying. So I'm weighing the fact that she said no very highly, and I don't know the whole story. If he said like, oh, I'm going to do this, you know what I mean? That's like, and then she didn't respond to that. Like, I don't know. That's a different situation. But I'm kind of disregarding all of the subtle stuff, of like, maybe they were cuddling or they were close physical proximity, like all the things that we might take as nonverbal signals that like, oh, this is okay. I'm totally discounting that stuff because the end result appears to have negated all of the evidence that it was okay. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, because we can't mind read, we have to go by the end result and what physically happened.
Another thing too, I don't know if we mentioned this, but another thing we haven't mentioned that makes this even more dramatic of a story is that he kept during masturbation in front of her, kept saying that he wanted to impregnate her, and then he came inside her at the end of that. That makes it worse.
Hell yeah, traditional family
It does,
values.
and it's what leads me
Jesus
to
Christ,
believe
dude.
even more that it was rape. I kind of understand, kind of. I feel like maybe my distinction is the verbal no is the most important, and especially if it's repeated as much as it was, and there's never a clear line at least said by this story's account. Can you hear me clearly?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we hear you good.
Okay, cool, good. I'm just making sure the bars are low. By this story's account, it seems like she felt violated, she felt raped. She never expressly, verbally said yes, as far as we're aware. And I don't know, like we have to hear his side to make a very conscious like judgment. But I don't know.
Well, I want to hear. I want to hear
clear-cut to
more.
me.
I honestly want to hear more of her side. That's
Oh
what
yeah, I
we're-
want to hear more both sides. Honestly, yeah.
I just yeah. Like so.
Oh, I see.
Yeah. I can imagine a
He's thinking
situation.
anything.
I can imagine a situation where, there. I say I have a. I want to put myself in her shoes. I can imagine a situation where there's some guy that I'm dating and or not dating, like I'm having a long-term sexual relationship with, and we get together and we go back into the same room after meeting up to watch a movie, We go back into the same room. I go back in the same room with him. He's like, so he takes his dick out and he starts jerking off, and I'm like, I don't want you to do that, because I don't like how things are going in our relationship. So I don't really want you to, but he keeps doing it, and I have a place to stay, but I'm like, I just keep staying. It's like, I don't really want you to. No. I can imagine a situation that in the by the note of her story, if I were her, that I would be able to do that with absolute agency. And I would be able to own my decisions. But yeah, if I learned more information, then it might make me change. It would make me change my mind. That because yeah,
Okay.
Yeah, I
but
mean,
like
Oh,
like
do you have anything
Kimbo is saying that the no is pretty clear, and most people, that's all they need to hear, and all the nuance goes by the wayside. Um,
yeah, I mean, I can definitely relate to this. Like, I've definitely had like those nights of one person was more uh, up for it than the other person, and if one of those nights, the next day they went to the police, if they fucking went on social media and said that I raped them, then that would, you know what I mean? That would be the consequences, and I would have to accept that. I wouldn't be like, I couldn't be like, oh yeah, but most of the time it's fine. So I mean,
um,
I definitely empathize, but
yeah. Okay, I think I think we kind of got all of our ideas out. Do
yeah.
you guys want to? I think we
Yeah.
can all agree that there something wrong happened here, but
Very
I think
yeah.
we just disagree on where we're willing to draw our boundaries on the word rape. And I'll give you guys, if you guys want to say something final. Emery, you can say something. Smith, you can say something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll finish it off with this. I can understand other people's perspectives. Something very wrong happened here, and I guess the guy pretty much, in a way, without saying it, has admitted that something wrong happened for sure. I think it was rape, given that the verbal no was pretty explicit, and that he was trying to tear off her clothes and stuff like that. Seems kind of, I don't know, like very, very bad, if not rape. Yeah, I know. I think it's pretty clear cut from there. Yeah, go ahead.
I
I would
think
say, oh, wait,
I would
you
say
can go last. So
okay.
last.
I'll go last. Okay.
So we're in a protect women era. The standards are pretty high these days. I think it's a clear violation of like the social standards, even if most people don't actually live up to that. Yeah, that's pretty much it.
I think it's up in the air. As far as rape, I think it's absolutely sexual misconduct. Or in like this is the kind of thing that has repercussions, but the difference, like in not the difference. I think he was he kept persisting, crossing these lines. She while she had the opportunity to leave, and she could have, she acquiesced, and I just, I don't think that's acceptable behavior, and obviously, but I don't think that's the same as actually forcing someone to have sex without them without their consent. I think acquiesce is a type of consent, and acquiesce. You can only acquiesce in a situation where you have the power to acquiesce. If she didn't have the power to make that choice, then it would absolutely be rape. But I believe she had the power to make that choice. That's the thing I'm saying. I think that she had the power to make that choice. And if I learn more information that I hear that she didn't have that power, then I would say it's absolutely rape. That's what I'm saying.
All right. Are we ready to move on to the next topic?
Yep.
Okay, so
Absolutely.
I'll be somewhat yielding my moderation role. for this one because I do want to engage, but I think I mostly want to let you guys talk, but I do want to get some words in about this one. So, did you guys watch the video for this one, or should we play it on the Discord right now?
I watched that video like a long time ago, but I know the topic. I can just talk about. I don't really need to watch. Did you guys need to watch it?
The prison video.
Yeah.
No, I can. It's been a bit, but I can basically talk about the subject as is.
I'd rather just talk about the subject because I'm sick
Okay.
of I'm sick of this motherfucker, Mr. Girl. I just want to
We don't
fucking
need to be his orbiters.
seek for
Yeah,
myself,
well,
you know.
I am scared that if you watch the video, it'll color your opinions a little bit. So I think we should just
I
go into
didn't
this
watch it
organic.
because of that. I think that's a good reason. Yeah, don't cover
Okay.
it.
So Mr. Girl video says it's titled "Prison is Torture." So we're just gonna get into that from there. So the first question I have is, do you think that prison is torture?
Who wants
Yeah.
to go first?
Yeah, it's torture.
Okay.
It's
Yeah.
punishment. You know, you're hurting people. You're trying to fuck them over. It's revenge. And you know, it's not really the best solution to the problem of crime. You can do that in a much more efficient and ethical and humane way. So all of that extra shit, torture is not the word I might choose, but it's a pretty good word for it. I'll opt into the torture word.
Okay. I think my position is generally, I don't know if it's torture. I think it can be torture, sometimes, but I think the word I would use more broadly is punishment. My position is still that I think that that's unethical, but yeah, I don't know if full-on torture is the word I would go for.
Okay. Can I go?
Yeah.
I don't want to. Okay. So prison to me isn't inherently immoral, although how it is broadly utilized as slave labor to me is in itself immoral. And usually they use a lot of torture methods to kind of deal punishment to a lot of people in prison, regardless if they're innocent or guilty. It seems like like it doesn't even matter about the severity of the crime. Like they treat them all equally shit, which is pretty reprehensible to me. The goal of prison shouldn't be punishment. It should be rehab, like a rehabilitation center. But yeah, I think it needs to exist for society's worst perpetrators to be contained. Yeah, I think there should be kind of a class, not a class system, like a severity of crime system, like in terms of how we box people into the prison system.
I mean, we have that.
Here, wait,
Kimbo.
before we begin the crossfire here, Kimbo, did you want to state your position on
Yeah,
this
so
topic?
I very quickly said yes. Then I googled what torture is. Apparently, torture definition is inflicting severe pain. So it might not meet like the dictionary definition, but synonyms for torture.
No,
Use,
it's
torment,
severe
treatment,
pain. Like
maltreatment.
cutting off 10 years of your life is fucking severe.
It's not stabbing nails in their eyes. So I would colloquially, I would say yes, it's torture. It might not meet the actual definition of torture. Like,
It's certainly a form of torture.
What about
Ride says
one of the definitions is
prison can
sorry,
be
go on.
torture. Prison can be torture depending on the person. For someone like Emery, they would get out. They would get turned out regularly. But for some people, it's like summer camp. All their friends and relatives are in there.
You know, despite Ride's harsh language, I think he does kind of have a point.
No, he doesn't have a point.
I think he might have a point as in saying that it's probably worse for some people than for others.
Well, I guess. I mean, it's gonna be better for the people that are like jacked out psychopaths who don't give a like the more like willing you are to hurt other people, the more safe you are going to be, and more afraid people are going to be of you in jail. The more like afraid of that, like you're going to be turned out. You're going to be fucking taken advantage of and shit. You're going to be a target. I think that it's just
Prison is torture to everyone,
unacceptable.
regardless. I think
It's unacceptable.
it's a form of punishment and torture, considering, like what Smith said earlier, is like some people get 10 years of their lives for like a crime that isn't as severe as something like murder or something. Like it's just like, that's a form of like torture. You're taking away like the precious years that you have of your life.
I don't agree. I don't agree with that. I'm more extreme than that. I think that taking away years of people's lives is like you said that you don't believe in punishment, but you really do, because what you just said is you're saying to different degrees of punishment. I think that we should solve the problem. We should fix the person. And if they are unfixable, which is sometimes the case, there are like criminally insane people that need to be separated from society, then we should separate them from society, and it might look something like prison, but definitely not the way it is right now. And it should be a lot safer. We don't put all these protections in place for the people involved. We relish in the fact that they're suffering when they go there. That's part of the point. I think that we genuinely mostly the whole thing just needs to fucking go.
So I think
another point.
argument...
Wait. What before, and then I'll shut up. Something I thought of earlier that I want to say is that prison is something that I'm psychically something that throughout my whole life, I've never done anything where I should go to prison, but the idea that I could, and as a man, what it'd be like to be in prison, it's just like this psychic horror looming over your head. Like, what if you ended up in prison? And I think it's it just terrorizes all of us. And I think we need to get the fuck rid of it. It's not just the fact that it terrorizes me and I'm not even in prison. We should not let that be what we fucking do.
So can I clarify what I mean by punishment? I mean, in terms of, I don't think it should be primarily used as a punishment center. I think the goal should be, if somebody murders somebody, there should be a form of punishment as severe to what they get. No. I think the point of what a prison should be is to have them go into a rehab to fix themselves. The punishment would be mostly about you going in and fixing your shit and staying out of society, away from people
That's not punishment. That's not punishment.
Hurt. That is exactly a punishment.
Punishment is
go in the corner,
somebody.
Learn your lesson, you get your shit together. Punishment isn't inherently an abuse thing. Punishment can be delivered in various forms.
Okay, punishment is a tool.
It can sometimes be a really good thing for people.
Punishment is a tool. It's called negative reinforcement, and the main point of prison is negative reinforcement. But I think if we actually want to solve the problem, negative reinforcement is one small tool of all the tools we have, and I think it just terrorizes us and it tortures the people inside. I think torture.
That negative reinforcement keeps people from out of line and doing really shitty things. I think there should be something like that to loom over somebody's head before they start murdering people or raping people.
Okay, I think that this goes into kind of a one of my later questions, which is the purpose of prison, and if we think that prison serves that purpose. So I would say that the purpose of prison overall, this is pretty similar to Mr. Girl's take, is it's a deterrent to crime. It's a punishment for the crime, like serving justice, that kind of thing. It removes criminals from society, for the duration of the sentence, because if you're a criminal, then obviously you can't be in society because that erodes society. And then the last but forgotten element was, in the past, it was meant for rehabilitation. It has since moved away from that almost entirely, and I think that that's a problem. But would we agree with those the general definition of purpose of prison? Do we think that that's true?
I don't agree that most of those should exist.
But Can we agree that that is the
What
purpose
is
that
yes,
prison
that is
serves?
what prison is. Yeah.
Okay.
What do you
Do we
think should
that's
replace the
effective?
prison?
So it depends on the fucking crime. Like, so I don't know. Somebody that gets charged for possession of like child porn, like they have a fucking terabyte of child porn. We should remove their ability to ever access child porn. We should remove them from any like from children. We should send them to therapy, and yeah, I think those are the main things. Punishing them for that, I don't think will change them at all. I think that in that case, like in that specific kind of crime, I just like like punishing them won't really make them not want to look at child porn. I don't believe that. It's I absolutely don't believe that. I think that yeah, it,
It seems like you're against the concept of punishment
no.
in and of itself, because
Yeah,
my
yeah,
goal,
exactly.
my
In and
goal
of itself,
argument is my goal is to say yes, punishment should happen, but the severity of the punishment should be severely limited. That's my idea of what would, and I think
okay,
the main focus of a prison should be on correcting behavior, giving therapy to those who are committing wrongs. I say the punishment to me, let me clarify what the punishment to me is. The punishment would be about putting somebody away from the society that they keep on harming. I think it would be a punishment to them in the sense of they can't keep getting away with like really fucking shitty behavior.
yeah, okay. When somebody does something wrong, we take away their rights. Like you have proven that you cannot be a normal member of society. You need to be fixed. That in itself is punishment. Fixing them is not. You don't want to be someone that needs to be forcibly fixed. You don't want to be forced to go to therapy, have a fucking, like have like a fucking ankle bracelet. You don't want to be forced to be removed from the internet. You don't want to be forced to, like, remove your access to fucking computers or something. Those are all negative reinforcement, but those are also direct solutions to the problem. Like explicitly, the problem is solved by taking away these rights from the person. The problem of most crimes is not solved by prison. You're just hurting them. And most people that go to prison, prison is not, the reincarceration rate proves that. So I think that punishment for punishment's sake is stupid. I think correction is in itself punishment.
As it stands, I agree with you. Prison not doing what it's supposed to be doing, or what it should be doing at least. So I agree with you in that sense. KMBO, do you want to say anything? I feel like we're taking up most of the conversation.
No, it's good. So I feel like I probably disagree with you guys a lot here. I agree with like the main reasons for prison. It's kind of not directly tied into prison, but there's a fifth thing, which is like repayment to the victim, or also the victim could be society. So usually that involves like a financial penalty or having to work inside prison or do something to make it up.
Wait, KMBO. So the what you just brought up was a repayment to the victim. So financially, I can see how that would work. Like, we want fines if you destroy somebody's property. But would you agree that repayment or like justice for the victims, that comes from a place of like hate, right? Say a drunk driver kills a kid. Say a guy, he's driving drunk, he kills a kid with his car. The family hates that guy. The family wants to see that guy rot in prison, because they hate him, right?
No. I mean the
You don't think so?
financial
or you
impact
just
of a
mean
crime
financial?
is like a totally separate thing, and that's also, you don't really deal with it in prison, but it's something the prisoners must also do. So I just wanted to bring that up because it's also a part of it.
So but you don't mean do you
Well,
not see how like another form, or do you agree that the other form of repayment, meaning, or like not payment but like payback or like revenge, is something, a dynamic that exists in the prison system?
No, yeah, I totally agree. Revenge is one of the dynamics, but repaying the financial impact is also a thing.
all right, I got a question for you. How much is my kid worth if you killed my kid?
Probably like, I don't know, $50,000. I don't know what that average is. But wait, I wanted to say, so I kind of I agree with you that
500K at least. Yeah, at
no,
least.
At least 100.
He said
100K.
he said
100K.
50K.
Yeah, at
He
least
said-
something like 500K. Yeah, at least.
All right, sorry.
Wait, burning down somebody's house is worth more than that.
What is
That would be like $1 million
I
depending on
interrupted
where you live.
Kimbo.
Yeah, sorry,
I'm
go ahead.
constantly fascinated that like we've had policing for like since the beginning of civilization, and we still haven't figured it out. And even in America or the United States, our policing's like really shitty. Like we have not figured out how to stop crime. It's been thousands and thousands of years. So I kind of lean towards accelerationism into all of the various reasons that we put people in prison. So we got to rehabilitate them more. We got to punish them more. We got to separate them.
Punish
from
them
society
more, you say?
Yeah, we got to all these reasons that we have prisons. We got to do that even harder.
By punish, what do you
fucking
mean
way,
by
dude.
punish exactly for you?
That's an interesting take.
What do
We
you
need a
define
prison
as
harder. We
punishment
need a
for
prison
you?
more.
So like, so one of the things I advocate for, which is like, it's a bit goofy, you know what I mean? Like, I'm not saying go write this into law right this second, is have like another category of crime where you are super guilty, and you are guilty of a super horrible crime, like let's say that guy that shot up like the kid's school or whatever. They knew exactly who did it. They had a trillion evidence. Like everybody knew this guy did it. This is the crime. As soon as the trial ends, drop him into lava. We don't need all these appeals and 30 years in jail, and all that. So that's what I
So
mean.
are you pro death penalty?
So that would be a way I think that we could increase the intensity of the punishment aspect. Yes, I would be pro death penalty, pro.
I heavily disagree with this one, but
Yeah, I
it's
disagree.
giving me something to argue with.
Yeah.
I would say emotionally, I understand where you're coming from, where somebody does something as reprehensible as shooting up a school or raping a child or something like that, and you're like, fuck them, like done, they're dead, they need to be fucking put in lava. I understand that, but I have to view I have to be human for a bit. I have to be like, look, like as much as I hate these people,
You have to make them human.
I think you have to be able, because you don't want to become them in a different format. Like you're basically becoming them. You're giving into that
Squinting is
rage.
their
You're giving into
eyebrows.
that evil, and being like, yeah, let me just do exactly what they would do to me or somebody else that I love. No, like I can't get on board with that at all. I think the goal should be to heal somebody, to basically get them the therapy that they need, to get them the healing they need, the help they need. And as far as the punishment to me for them is basically just living inside of a cell one day at a time.
I mean, keeping
Growing
people in a cell
better,
costs money.
growing better over time, but understanding what they did was really fucked up and wrong, and having to live
Okay.
with that.
Okay.
That's the punishment to me.
Hold up. Okay, everybody remember this trial that was like every fucking streamer was streaming. This guy was like he was Better Call Sauling the whole fucking time because he like ran over some people, and like every streamer was watching it because he was batshit insane. He had like long hair, and one of his sweet moves in the courtroom was before the trial he shaved his head. So he's like, what did the person who ran over those people look like? Oh, he had long hair. Do you see that person? Do you see someone with long hair in the courtroom right now? That guy. When I watched that, obviously he's a fucking like psychopath kind of guy, but when I watched that trial, I was like, I felt bad because he's got a brilliant mind in some ways, and like it's such a waste. And I have that feeling for the worst of people.
I think I'm coming at it from a little bit of a different way, which is like, if you think killing people is wrong, like morally, and if you think that taking away people's autonomy, in order to punish them is wrong, then I still don't think it's acceptable to do those things. So I don't think it's acceptable to kill or take away people's autonomy for the purpose of punishing them, even if we're doing it to somebody who did that themselves. So like,
We need We need to be
Yeah.
able to be pragmatic, though.
Wait,
wait,
so
So is it
I
wrong
also-
to
Because
punch
if
somebody?
we don't
Is it wrong to punch
don't
somebody?
do
wait, hold on, just
either
real
one
quick.
of these things, they could
someone in chat-
continue
Wait,
this
sorry, sorry,
behavior.
Someone in chat just said, Ryan just said, increasing the punishment would probably increase the severity of the crimes, and it seems like that is often the case too.
I think we can. I think that's another adjacent thing that we should get into. But right now I want to respond to what Kimbo
Okay.
just said. Can you
Is it
you asked
immoral
me if
to
punching
punch
people
somebody? Yeah.
just generally
Yeah.
um
Just say yes.
I would say that it's yeah, probably. I mean, I want
Okay.
to I want to have a
Is
little
it-
bit more. Yeah, that's,
Is it immoral to punch somebody that just punched you?
yes.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Is it immoral to punch somebody that just punched you and they're about to punch you again?
No.
There we go.
I think okay.
So it's the same
in
thing with society. Like,
wait,
there's certain
wait.
crimes that are like so severe.
It would be hard to tell when
Wait,
that
put it in
happens,
different
though.
Hold on.
No,
Wait.
it's not
Can I explain?
Yeah.
Okay. Self-defense is something that I typically agree with. And I can definitely empathize with somebody who punches somebody who's about to punch them again. However, I don't think that it's I think it's a false equivalency to the prison system, because it's like we've already stopped the prisoner or the criminal. We've already stopped them. They're not going to punch any more people. So like now we have the power to do something with that. And if we're just holding them there, and then like, is it right for us to like, okay, let me change the situation. You have a lot of power. So somebody punches you in the face, and they're about to punch you again, and then you you use the force. It's like Star Wars. You put them, you make them, they can't move. All right, you just froze them in time. You've effectively stopped what's happening. Is now the solution to punch them in the face over and over and over again? Like I don't think that that's the solution.
Okay, so
What
we're
if you
dealing-
punch them to knock them out? What about that?
That's different.
Oh, I would. Oh, if you punch them,
Because it would be like, if you knock them out, you don't have to
What's
punch
up?
them anymore. They're already knocked out.
I'm not. I
wait,
wasn't talking about
what's
that.
the kind
I
of
wasn't talking
that
about
kind of
threat to violence.
what's your how would that tie into prison? Yeah, if you knock them out, but then they're temporarily not gonna be able to move, I guess. But that also causes like long-term trauma to their like brain.
As little
so, I don't-
as little fucking punches as possible.
yeah.
So
Yeah.
if
I
you're
totally
punched,
get what you're saying.
it's
And
a trolley
I think I
problem.
even have to I think I even have to agree that no, if you have stopped the issue, punching somebody that just punched you when you're no longer in danger probably isn't like super ethical. But I do think it's fair. I think part of the justice system is like fairness, and I think revenge is fair. So
I don't
when it
think it's
comes to
fair.
like really extreme crimes, like
I don't believe in
yeah.
that. I don't
Neither.
believe that okay, do you believe so I know that you're saying that it's fair, so you view it as like an equal thing. So an equal amount of harm. They did harm to you, you get to do harm to them. But I don't think that causes like two wrongs don't make a right in that situation.
Okay, good thing that's
This-
only one of the 4 or 5 reasons to punish people or to put
Okay.
people in prison.
Okay.
So I
how about
disagree with you. I
another
don't
reason,
think
like
I'm going to convince you, but there's
Yeah,
3
yeah, I
other good
understand.
reasons that we should still throw people. in
Okay,
prison.
I think we should go into those. How can we all agree that
So we
prison
agree
as a
that-
deterrent? Do we think that works?
No. I mean,
I think it
As a
we
de-
can we can look at the like fact, like obviously it doesn't.
Yeah.
So
I would say it probably deters some people, but the people that it deters are probably privileged enough to the point where they don't need to commit crimes to survive. And I think that the people who it doesn't deter are the people who maybe don't have any other option or are driven to commit crimes.
I would say it's not a very good deterrent, but it is there. So what I mean by that is that, yeah, it can be a deterrent, but there's a lot of people. I think a lot of people would do just about anything that they feel like they need to do, regardless of punishments or like anything like that. Like I think some people just do what they do anyway. But like generally, when I mean deterrent is usually somebody's like thinking about like, what are the repercussions? Should I probably just take this risk? Nah.
I think that it doesn't matter. I think that
I
most
think it
people who
does
commit
deter
crimes think they're
people.
going to get away with it.
I think it does deter at times. I don't think it's as simple as like, oh, it's just not like a good deterrent at all. Like I think there's times where it could definitely change the mind of somebody who's about to commit a crime.
Okay. I would agree for smaller things, but I think that like it deters me from like running a red light, sure, but I think that like in a broader sense for prison where they commit like crimes, I think that like probably not. Most people think they're going to get away with it.
Yeah.
That kind of thing.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
Hey, Imbo, what do you think? Do you think it's an effective deterrent?
Yeah. I would have to see the numbers to know how effective, but it just seems so like innate to human psychology and human society. Like I can't imagine that it does nothing. Like it's so basic and exists everywhere.
Well, yeah, but okay. So the distinction that Emery pointed out earlier is it's the thing I'm against is punishment for punishment's sake. And I would say punishment for purely deterrent sake is also unnecessary because I think correction in itself is the punishment. So say you run a red light, you owe a debt to society in some way. You might need to the way to correct that behavior. You've proven that you're a danger on the road. You need to now prove that you aren't a danger. So you are going to like have a ticket. So you're going to have to repay your debt that way. Maybe depending on what kind of you repeatedly do this or something, you get your license revoked, and you have to earn it back or something. Those are punishments, sort of. Those are deterring. Those will deter you. But once it crosses that line, that
agree.
line into the you deserved it fairness thing, I don't agree with that.
Okay, wait. So I agree. Wait, and I think that might be the more interesting conversation about punishment itself. But I think what I want to do first is just so that we can establish these. I think that there's some premises that we need to establish, which is like, is prison serving its purpose? Because I think that Kayembo and Emery seem to think that it is serving its purpose to some extent. I think that I think that we just need to establish that first before we get into like if we think punishment is okay.
I have a general question before we launch into that too much.
Before we answer
Okay.
the other question, we need
Sure.
to answer the other question. What is it?
Okay, just okay.
What is it?
Hold on, let me build it.
What
up.
is it?
All right, so here's the thing: if prison wasn't a punishment to people, what would stop them from committing really heinous crimes? Like if prison isn't even remotely a deterrent to somebody, I would argue that like if that's not the case, then more people would be willing to be like, oh yeah, you know what? I'm just going to murder this person. The worst thing that will happen is I'm detained and put into therapy for about like, I don't know how long. It's basically like a vacation to some extent.
Yeah, so like losing no.
So there
no,
has to be an element.
no,
there has
no.
to be an element of punishment in there
Disagree.
to deter people from doing really heinous acts. I think
Okay,
that's
now
just the case.
what you're just engaging with
I think
right
it
now.
just has to be that way.
You're skipping the thing that C whatever wanted to talk about. Sorry, I want to remember your name.
Yeah, you gotta know his name.
C Mackle.
To be honest, I had this question
Okay,
before you started.
But this question, because we're talking about the punishment thing, so you're skipping. Let's wait for that. But I think no, you're fucking wrong because the you're taking away people's rights. That is a deterrent. I think you can the correction, breaking the law, you lose your rights. That is a deterrent. You do like that. Like I don't see like you. The thing that's going to stop you from breaking the law. I think that's a good
deterrent.
What?
I think it's a potential good deterrent for major crimes at times.
Yeah, you don't need to go above and beyond and make some like
I think it would be a worse scenario if in a hypothetical world that you want, where it's like basically like a criminal murders a wife and child, and then they just go into a rehab clinic for about, I don't know, what do you think? How long do you think they should stay in there? If they do something like that.
Okay. So you're just picturing a world where, and so you're picturing the world I'm describing as one where people do crimes, then they get some slap on the wrist, you go to the therapy, whatever, and then they go out, and it's like, big deal. I'm picturing, but that's what you're saying. But what I'm saying is a world where you kill a wife and a kid, and if you are unfixable and you cannot re-enter society, the solution is to remove you from society. If
That's
you
what
are,
I'm saying.
if
That's
no,
my whole point.
no, 'cause
That
you're
is the
saying,
punishment.
you're
That
saying
is the
deterrent. You're
punishment.
saying deterrent for deterrent's sake. I'm saying that's explicitly the solution. And if that's and if you are not on, if you're not so far gone, if you can be saved, then the solution to the thing is you go to therapy for as long as it takes for you to be able to re-enter society.
Who's to determine somebody who murders a wife and child? Who's the therapist that's going to be like, you know what? I should let that man out. It's been like 30 years. Like,
Not so erudite.
who's going to be
Not so erudite.
Good. Dr. K,
Professional. A professional.
got him.
Someone who is a professional. Any people who are trained in professional, like we have people like that go and get fucking 6-year degrees for this shit.
See, I don't trust therapists to be able to do that sufficiently at all.
Well,
Okay, maybe. Wait, I have a. Do you think that like, something that you're saying is that if you didn't have the prospect of like punishment for a crime, that people would just kill each other? Do you actually believe that?
I think if you're not given enough of a reason to be deterred, like if there isn't like this hovering thing of like, holy shit, like I could be in like this really like shitty kind of system. I think that does help deter people a lot more than you would think. Obviously not enough. And I think it is overall run in the unethical way. So it does need to be like cleaned up a little bit. But I think like a lot of people like to that cleaned up and be more like a rehab center instead of like a prison, which a prison should be about both the punishment and the healing.
When you're saying it's a rehab, or when you're saying it should be changed to a rehab center, I feel like what you're doing is you're kind of conceding the fact that that we have a need for the deterrent. Because if it's a rehab center, then I don't think that's much of a punishment at all. I mean, it might be to some extent.
That's what I'm saying. That's why I'm arguing
your autonomy,
against.
But I don't think that it's much.
That's what I'm.
Right?
That's what I'm saying is I don't think. That's
So
what I'm
you're
saying
okay-
to Smith
you're
right
okay
now.
with
Is
this
I
change?
don't.
We're missing one thing.
I'm okay with certain changes, but not enough to where like Smith wants.
The deterrent is a word. It's a funny word. Because the type of deterrent that you guys, all of you crazy motherfuckers, are talking about is terror. Terror as a deterrent. But there are different types of deterrent, and one of those is education. So, but I believe when that question C. Mackle brought up, I believe that left to their own devices, people are going to rape and kill. And I think one of the deterrents that stops people from doing that is education. And the only reason that we are able to have a society as such as we do is education and socialization, I would say, is an element of education. So say that you are improperly socialized or you are mentally deranged in some way, perhaps even biologically. It's possible that you're just genuinely born to be criminally insane. That person probably has no hope of being part of society, and that's sad, but that's just a fact. But most people that fail to learn or become socialized or become educated and socialized in society where they can be productive members of society, then what you should do then is to actually educate them and socialize them into the point where they actually are productive members of society.
Yes.
And that is a deterrent.
I also think that to some extent, just the need and the understanding of people that like one of the reasons I don't commit crimes, obviously I'm scared of going to prison, but it's like, okay, I want to coexist in a society. I'm socialized to not commit crimes. I would feel really guilty about it. So unless I was like hopping town to town stealing stuff, I would probably face other kinds of punishment for that.
So I was gonna say, I think yes, prison is a deterrent. I think people would go nuts without the threat of prison, without terror. I think people will abuse any advantage given to them. Yeah.
Okay. But something that Emery was bringing up is like, okay, so I know I don't want to get into like the whole blueprint of how you would run your prison exactly, but do you agree that the deterrent factor and the punishment factor would kind of not be existent in your hypothetical rehabilitation model?
Are you
to
talking to
Emery.
me or Smo?
I'm talking to you.
Okay, let me
Because you were
clarify,
saying
'cause
that
it
the
seems
deterrent
it
is
seems like
a necessary thing.
okay. I think deterrent is necessary. I guess the way I would describe this is I feel like I'm caught in the middle between Smeth and Kmbo in terms of how I view how the prison system should actually be like structured. So I don't think it should be treated like a rehab center, which is what it feels like, and I could be wrong. It feels like what Smith is aiming for. I don't think that's a sufficient enough punishment for somebody who did some reprehensible crimes. Um, I don't want their environment to be so deranged though that like they can get raped at a moment's notice or they can like knifed and cut up and shit like that. But I don't feel like it should be exactly the most cozy environment to be in because it is supposed to be a facility where you are supposed to be at the end of the day still punished for what you did
Yeah,
for
tortured.
X amount of years, and and I don't think you should serve life sentences for certain crimes, but I'm not really exactly comfortable with like, you only serve like 3 years, it's okay, or something like that. I think it would be hard to determine. My problem is it would be hard to determine what is a suitable form of justice for the family that has to pay the consequences for a murderer. Yeah, that's my problem. Is what is
Okay.
a good amount of justice and a fair amount of
Okay.
healing that
This
that
is-
would be
that's a-
with them to
So,
come
okay.
out
That's a-
into
Oh, that's a
society.
great word.
Yeah,
So,
yeah,
okay,
yeah,
so my
yeah,
question.
yeah.
I got a question. So
Sure, yeah.
so someone does someone kills your kid. How much do you have to torture them for you to be healed?
I don't.
Nothing. There's nothing that can happen. Nothing they can do that will bring your kid
Hold on.
back. There's nothing they can do.
Wait.
I
Okay.
think
wait,
that
wait, wait,
I
just
believe
a meta
I
thing.
want to respond to his point.
Wait,
I
can I
want
make a meta? Can I make a meta thing? I just want to
Yeah.
Sure,
acknowledge.
yeah.
I think I want to. What we're doing is we're naturally shifting from the deterrent conversation. So now I think what we're trying to argue here is whether the punishment is a necessary thing.
Right. Okay.
Right. Okay. So
Sure, yeah,
continue.
yeah.
Yeah. I think that it's not necessary. I think that you need to solve the problem, and so you solve the problem, and if part of that solution involves negative reinforcement or punishment, you could call it, then that is part of the solution. And so only as much as it is a part of the solution. There is no justice where, oh, well, they did this, so they deserve it, and it's only fair. I don't agree with that. I don't think you can bring the kid back. I think that if they've caused you some type of damages, then you need to be reimbursed. But no matter what, you'll never fucking bring a kid back. And kill it. And so if I kill your kid, you chopping off my arm, you chopping off all my limbs and turn me into a nugget person. That's not gonna make your kid come back. You can disembowel me, but keep me alive and like hooked up to fucking wires, so I feel the pain forever. And it's not gonna bring your kid back no matter what you do.
Okay, so here's my thing: is if there's no punishment. Hey, actually, I don't even think you believe that like punishment shouldn't be handled because you were talking about the family should be reimbursed a set amount of currency for their kid, dying at the hands of a murderer. Like the murderer should pay some form of,
I don't know.
balance,
wait.
some
Would you-
I don't know
money.
about that.
So
I
like
don't know
Would you
about
agree
that.
about
a form
like
of
property though?
punishment, taking away all their money, yeah, or most of their money, yeah.
Yeah, no,
That
I think,
in
I think
itself
money
is-
fun.
that in
but I think
itself
taking
is
life
already-
different.
So I don't think you believe that punishment is inherently just like not needed because that is a form of punishment. My
No.
problem is yes, it is. Like if you're taking away most of my
I
income,
told you.
yeah, like
I told you in my response. You solve the problem. If punishment or something you could call punishment is part of the solution to the problem, then that is part of the solution to the problem, and you are solving the problem. And after that solution is done, there's no reason. Like, so you said in your hypothetical, your dream scenario, that it shouldn't be extra cushy. It should not be a pleasant place. I think it.
no,
I believe.
I think they should be learning.
Yeah, I think there should be learning, but I think it should be as pleasant as it possibly can be
No.
to solve the problem. So you think it should be extra torture? It should be extra
No,
unpleasant?
no. See, here's the way you're framing it, as if I'm like Imbo, and it's like, oh my god, they should be like
Yeah.
tortured mercilessly. I told you, my middle ground is I don't want people stabbing each other, people raping each other. I don't want
didn't
people
say
going
nothing about rape.
insane. But it, but
not a
it's
good
an
faith
environment
interpretation of
that shouldn't
his
exactly
position.
like, oh, cozy up, come with me to therapy. We're just gonna learn and read and all this. I think they need a very strict schedule. I do think like they should not be giving as many rights since they took away like children or they done things. I think they should be put in a very tight knit schedule where it's not exactly the most comfortable thing, but they are able to learn and grow, because part of learning and growing is receiving some sort of a punishment for your misdeeds.
Okay,
I think
so
everyone
so
learns
you
from punishment.
have misunderstood me. I've said that if part of solving the problem can be defined as punishment, so the best learning environment for this person to fix them, to solve the problem, to make them learn, if that is unpleasant, then that is a necessary thing. And as far as it's not necessary, we don't need it. So as cushy and as pleasant as possibly can be. Someone in chat just said it wouldn't bring the kid back, but you can surely acknowledge that that punishing the perpetrator makes people feel better in a vengeful sort of way. I disagree. I think that
I disagree with that.
I think
I
that we
agree,
have
yeah.
that want, and I think we so somebody kills your kid. I remember Liam Neeson was talking about some story where he like wanted to go beat up some black guy because like some black guy did something bad, and he was like super fucking pissed. Like, do you remember anybody hear this story? I don't remember the details, but like apparently at one point in his life he was like walking the streets like because he was so mad, and he just wanted to take it out on some black guy, and so he was walking the streets looking for a black guy to pick a fight with, and he told this story. Say he did. So even if he found the person that did it and he beat them up, it's not going to change what happened, and it's actually not going to... Now he's going to have beaten someone up, and he's going to have to live with that, too. Like, it doesn't make you feel better. It doesn't actually heal you. I don't believe
I have
that.
a question.
Here's the problem.
Wait,
the
can I ask
problem.
a
If they don't...
hypothetical?
Sure, go ahead, Gavin.
I think this might just boil it down a little bit. Okay. Everybody answer this. If there was a pill, like hypothetically, there's a pill that you can take. The government, somebody developed this pill, and if you take the pill, it makes it so that you don't want to commit crime anymore. You're complete. You've kind of like been educated a little bit. It just automatically does all those things that you guys are kind of advocating here. So if you took a pill and it didn't make you commit crimes anymore, would that be something that we would prefer to prison?
No, because the person didn't actually learn anything. It's an unethical thing.
Assuming
It's
that
almost
they
like I don't.
I'm trying to.
No,
the,
I don't. I just
the
don't.
pill
I
is
don't
a
think
part
it should be.
example.
I think part
Clockwork
of the
Orange.
punishment is. I think part of the punishment is it shouldn't be an easy process to be able to repent properly for these. Like
It should be as easy as possible.
If you just. No, it shouldn't. I don't
Why?
think it should. Like,
Why
I
would
think
you want to
that's
make it
just
extra
wrong.
hard? I
Why
think
not?
making it extra hard.
Why
and
not?
Extra,
Because that's part of the punishment.
Making
Why-
it extra
okay,
making it extra painful
If
is
I
wrong.
if I kill your dog, are
Yes.
you gonna want me to just be like going through the most easy process ever?
I'm
Like,
gonna
you want me to
if
learn
you-
something from
okay,
that.
if-
Like
if
you want me
you-
to take time and grow.
Yeah,
That
yeah,
helps.
but okay, listen. If you kill my dog, I'm gonna
Sure.
hate you. I'm gonna want the worst for you. I'm gonna want you to
Sure.
be tortured. I'm gonna want you to be tortured. I want to turn you into
As
a
you should.
I'm gonna want you to be turned into a nugget
Understandable.
human where all your limbs are removed.
I
But
understand. As
I
you
think,
should. Yeah.
but I think that you should be protected from me in that case, and I think that the most like it should be as the least painful way you can possibly be corrected. You can possibly have your behavior corrected, and the problem will be solved the least painful way possible.
The problem is you neglect the people who actually suffer the most from these people's hands. Like justice actually does matter. And I think that's the key difference between me and you right now is I'm looking at both parties and how it should be handled properly for both parties to be sufficiently happy. And it seems like you're more focused on like one party being like, oh, that should be an easy process to learn from and all that. Oh, only 2 years for murdering a wife and child or something like that. If the therapist says it's okay. Like I think that it doesn't work for me. That doesn't cut it.
Oh, just someone in chat is saying that I am shifting away from punishment being something that can help fix someone. No. I'm not saying only positive reinforcement. I'm saying negative reinforcement, punishment, is a tool that you can help fix. But I'm saying you need negative reinforcement up to the point you need it. Like so, let's say someone does whatever fucking someone does. Someone kills a dog. They go into their fucking rehabilitation center, prison, whatever you want to call it, whatever it is called in this society, and they're gonna like Emery said, they're gonna have a strict schedule. They're gonna have like they're gonna be regimented. They're gonna be given fucking discipline, and they're gonna have to learn some hard lessons. So yes, that is punishment, but it shouldn't be extra hard just for the sake of making it extra hard. That's what I'm saying.
Okay, that's where I agree with you. Is it shouldn't be extra hard. I'm asking for a environment where people aren't murdering each other, slicing each other up, raping each other. Asking for an environment where there isn't like cops taking bribes or beating specific people, even pedophiles or something like that. I'm asking for a little bit more cleaned up than what it is right now, but I'm not asking for super cozy time either.
Okay,
I don't.
Wait,
I have a question. I have a question
It should
from
be
chat
a
real
large
quick.
lesson because I don't think it's something you just
Okay, wait,
So,
can I-
I have just to add to the pill thing, and then I'll just
Yeah,
because I'm a bit dark.
Yeah,
So
that's fine.
what if an addition to the hypothetical about the pill, what if the pill made you learn to not commit crimes?
Yeah, no, that would be the point. I'm trying to like say, but the point of it isn't to like try to give you a perfect definition of the pill, but the point of it is just to say it accomplishes what you aim to accomplish by rehabilitation, but it does it like instantly. So would you
Well,
be
for me-
okay with? Would you be
for me,
okay with
this is-
getting
this
rid
is a
of the
totally
punishment
different
in, like,
topic.
some part?
Sorry, I
That's
said I would
not-
shut up. You
that's
talk.
that's not true justice to me.
So this is where I'm
Oh,
totally
sorry.
gonna switch.
Go
This is
ahead.
where I'm gonna totally switch gears. So for crimes where rehabilitation is the prescription, hell yeah! If you can give them a pill that makes them no longer commit crime, bingo, 10 seconds, you're done.
Because I'm just saying it gets rid of the punishment part, which
Yeah.
you guys seem to think
But
is
wouldn't-
justice.
wouldn't
I
you-
don't think it's justice.
Wouldn't you want to add what ding dong? Wouldn't you want to add a little bit of pain? Wouldn't you at least make the pill taste bad? Would it taste like really bad? No.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm just. Okay. I don't think so
the
either.
thing with your hypothetical to me is also that like I've asked a question very similar, but it had a different kind of. It was a pill question. It was like if you could take a pill and change your sexuality, is that like something you should do? And I say I don't think so. No, you shouldn't do that. Yeah.
I just
I-
wait, hold on.
Can I-
The difference
I
is
say that
I think
mainly
you're getting
because-
lost in the pedantic.
I say that mainly because it's not you. It's not real.
Yeah, no, I understand. I want, for the purpose of the hypothetical, I want us to ignore
really
the moral
changes you, yeah.
implications.
Yeah.
I want us to ignore them. Yeah, because obviously,
Okay,
if the government
fine.
gives you a pill to make you subservient, that's
It
pretty
could-
fucked up and
Yeah, it would make it
dystopian.
like Clockwork Orange
you to-
situation.
Yeah, I want you to just try to ignore that part just for the purpose of
Yeah.
the hypothetical.
I don't like it because it's not true justice. That's if it's easy one and done. Like I don't think it's true justice for the people who were harmed.
Can Kimbo make his point now?
Yes.
He's making a point.
Yeah, I mean different prescriptions for different crimes. If the goal is rehabilitation, then as easy as we can make it. If we can make it super comfy, take 1 minute and be as cheap as possible, then yeah, go for it. If it's $1 billion a pill, I don't know about that.
This. I'll say that this is like a non-crime. You could pop the pill on them. Yeah, like that's fine. Go ahead. If it's for something more violent, I think they need more time. I think the true justice would be them actually going through the punishment to learn what they did wrong and why they did wrong, and actually change. I don't think it should be an easy process like that.
So what if the pill? Okay, so someone in chat just said that repentance, the point of repentance isn't really for the victims; it's for the abuser, the culprit. So like you do the crime, you repent for yourself, like you repent to fucking grow as a person. What if the pill makes you repent too?
Yeah, I mean, it's basically the point of the pill
Magic.
is just to accomplish everything. Yeah, it's a magic pill. It makes you accomplish everything that we want you to accomplish in prison and all
Yes.
the rehabilitation stuff. Blah 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 blah. It's for you. So
I
that you
like this
can not
hypothetical
commit crimes.
because this really gets to the crux of what I was saying. If it could be that easy, I would want it to be that easy.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I think too. I don't think that the unnecessary punishment helps anybody.
I
Even the
like the
victims.
hypothetical too because it makes me think like, yeah, no, I don't want it to be that easy. I want it to be like as bad as it is right now, as horrible and like fucked up as it is. But I don't want it to be like so smooth sailing kind of shit. Like no,
I just don't
I
like.
think there
I
should
don't
be a
like
little
how
bit of justice.
bloodthirsty. I don't like that bloodthirstiness. I think it's immoral.
Yeah.
I don't think I'm bloodthirsty about it at all.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
think you
so,
are.
For me, the differentiation.
How am I
between-
It's
bloodthirsty?
okay. It's okay
I'm not
though. It's
asking
okay.
for.
You're
I don't think I'm bloodthirsty
You
at all.
sort of bit the bullet,
Like,
but I mean, it's all right.
I think
That's what you think.
no. I think you guys are mixing up revenge and justice somehow. Do you know what the
I think
difference is?
it's really similar, but yeah, go on. What's the difference?
I think the main difference is with justice is like revenge it way too far for selfish motivations. Justice is going through the process, the legal process, and then at the end of the day, like them going through like what they need to that was judged by all their peers, and like having to actually like atone, like take the time and actually like learn what the fuck you did wrong and have to live with that. Like just live with that. It's not bloodthirsty in terms of like I want them to fucking like suffer all
you would still
eternity.
have to live
I think
with
you
that
can.
if you
I
took
think
the pill,
you
I
have to
think.
live with it, but you
But the
can
pill
end
makes
up
you live
being
with it.
peace.
The pill does
But
that.
you earn, but you earn that peace. It isn't just given to you. You have to earn it.
Well, that's the moral implication of the pill.
It's like-
though. Like we're saying it.
it's-
We're saying
it's like,
we're saying the pill genuinely makes you go there in your like the pill does everything. It fixes your behavior. It makes you go to that place where you genuinely repent. You know, it's a magic pill.
The only thing that it doesn't do is it
it's
doesn't
a
punish
bad
you.
acid trip pill
unnecessarily.
that you.
Yeah.
I think there's just a fundamental
Yeah.
difference in terms of how we view like what should be done properly. Is justice should justice actually be fulfilled? Like, and what makes the difference between justice and revenge at that point?
Okay, I think that, like, just being honest, I think that justice is kind of a euphemism for revenge. I don't think that I don't think that justice is like a concept that isn't that is inherently away from punishment. I think that like it involves punishment and it's just revenge with like a more fancy word to make us feel better, make us feel like we're not
Justice
bloodthirsty.
steps.
Legal. It's a legal structure. Like it's supposed to be like through a process. Like really, like you the person through a procedural process and then come is the outcome, and when they're in prison they serve that time. I don't think it's like, because with me when I think of something like revenge, usually somebody's like going way too fucking far, like
Why?
and like
Okay,
it's
why?
like it's imbalanced.
Why-
It's not
I have a-
properly
I have-
judged.
I have a question
It's
to help you
done based
clarify.
off selfish motivations. Sure.
So why should justice be
Yeah.
fulfilled? Someone in chat just said Dom asked this.
Just because if we allow people to just like willy-nilly seek revenge, then we inherently go into a chaotic world, I think.
But no, but why
Oh.
should justice be fulfilled though? So like if we're
Why
distinguishing
should justice be fulfilled? This should be fulfilled because I don't think like people should just have like get out of jail free pill or anything like that. Like, here you go, you learned your lesson. Like it just feels like the true time and energy spent to actually learn these things and actually grow through these things sincerely is what the point is to me, or what should be the point.
All right.
Two
Thank-
reasons
thank
for
you.
justice.
Thank you, Mr. Dom. All right,
Yeah.
sorry.
Eric KMbo, can you yeah, you haven't really been able to speak much. Can
No,
you give your
I'm-
take on this?
If I wanted to interject more, I would. I like what you guys are saying. So, two reasons for justice. One, you got to pay society back. Second reason for justice is because it's innately built into our brains, like a sense of our system of justice is like a monkey system that is biological and some biological role. Nobody knows exactly why. We can probably improve on like the raw nature of it, but like fairness is just there in our brains, and so it's easier to actually do justice than cut out that piece of our brains, I think.
I don't agree. I
Would
think
you
that like
want-
rape
yeah.
rape and murder is part of our brain, and just like rape and murder, justice is part of our brain, and that's something we should protect people from, just like rape and murder.
I agree with that. I think it's immoral.
Oh, that's interesting.
I don't
Yeah.
think justice is. I don't think justice is immoral. I think it's a legal thing that we should be trying to pursue instead of just
Wait,
bloodthirsty
let me be
revenge.
specific. Let me be specific. When I say justice, I don't mean like the justice system broadly. I mean like specifically when we say like justice is served when we like send a criminal to prison for like the next 16 years. Like I think doing something like that when you have this satisfaction like okay, we achieved justice. I think that that's immoral because I think that that's an expression of hate and bloodthirstiness and revenge, honestly.
I don't think that's necessarily wrong to do that.
Why do you have to pay
Okay, I
society
think
back?
that it is.
If it's not financial,
you
then
have-
why do you have to
Why,
pay
why
society
would
back?
you? Why would you not?
But like, but when you say that,
Do you think
it sounds
society-
like
Do you
it's
think
paying.
society?
When you say that, it
Sure.
means society. It means paying them back. It means by suffering, right?
Depending on the crime.
I think
yeah.
you should. I think you should suffer a little bit. Yeah. If you do something as reprehensible as like murder a wife and child or rape a kid or something, yeah, there should be a little bit of suffering. Now,
Okay,
not
wait,
to the
so
degree
difference
of
here-
like
yeah.
you should be raped, you should be killed by your prison inmates or anything like that. But I think there should be a gradual process of like therapy, learning what you did, how wrong it was, going through all of that, like taking it day by day, a gradual process, knowing that like your rights are restricted forever because of this.
Wait.
I think it is a
Simplify this,
form
though.
of punishment.
Okay, I want to say
Simplify?
I think that Smith and I
Sure.
and right now the dichotomy here is I think you guys think that punishment some amount of punishment is necessary and I mean that like some amount of harm to the person is necessary, and I think Smith and I are saying that that's not necessary even no matter the severity of the crime. I think
Yeah, I just
If there was a magic solution,
Well,
it
yeah,
actually
in
might
this
it actually
hypothetical,
might be
that was the
necessary.
purpose.
Yeah.
I don't even think if there's a magic solution that I would be okay with that. It's like
Okay.
to me, it's just unethical for that magic solution, unless the crime was so minimal, like stealing a candy bar or some shit, or like I don't know, like just minor, really minor stuff. But when it comes to like heavier crimes, no, I don't. I don't think like
Well,
somebody should be
yeah.
just given a magic. Like,
I think we are
someone
talking
just,
about
someone just said
we're
something.
talking about prison-worthy crimes, which are
Someone
like
just said
typically
something
more severe.
Sorry.
Okay.
Someone just said something
No, go ahead.
stupid, but
Yeah.
also brilliant at the same time. It said if you break the law, you should be forced to speed run Superman 64 until you get a world record. Now
That's amazing.
That's
I
stupid.
agree.
That's stupid, but also like that makes like that feel like that redemption, like that's what like that's I guess you could say that's torture, but I mean I really
Yeah,
like
that's
redemption.
what I'm saying. I want redemption, but you have to earn it. You can't just and then be like, "Oh yeah, redemption. That's cool. I learned my lesson." It's just like it's hollow. Like it's like when you watch a movie and you're like, "All right, this character didn't really learn anything by the end." But like we're
but-
like it's trying to say that they did, but we don't really feel it.
I know, but like people's lives aren't a movie for us. Like it's like if I fuck up, if you fuck up, like it's not like if I kill your dog, I'm not your movie.
Yeah,
I don't
It's
think-
well, it's not
I don't-
right to view
don't-
somebody else's like suffering through your own lens of like I'm doing the right thing and I'm getting justice for myself. I think it's weird to
Okay.
view it through that lens and immoral.
Smith, if you killed my dog, like, and this hypothetically, if you killed my dog, I would be like, obviously, I'd be like really mad at you and
You
pissed.
nugget me.
I don't think I would go that far. Honestly, I don't think I'd just call the cops some shit. You would be in prison, and it would be like, okay, like, if you were offered a pill, like, I would be fucking angry because you would just come out and it's like, sure, like, technically you learned your lesson and everything because the magic, But like for me, when I see that, I'm just like, well, I mean, fine, I guess, but like he didn't really earn that. Like he didn't really like go through the
So you're kind of, your mic
process
is
to
cutting
like
out a little bit.
really like learn what he did was wrong. Like he himself didn't go through the work. Yeah, he didn't go. Yeah, it's just not earned. It's not good for the victims.
I think you
Will you
want me
admit?
to
Will you
be. I
admit
think you
that
want
when
me
you
to be
say
a
earn?
movie.
Wait, do
Yeah.
you think that? Will you admit that like when you say earn, you mean like you what you do want is you want some like process that's gonna be pretty like hard on the person. Like
I wanted
you
to
say
feel.
earned,
I
it's
wanted
not
to
for the
be.
greater good. It's for you to feel satisfied by their suffering.
It's for both. Yeah,
So
greater good
Okay. So
and
you
for me to
just I
feel
want yeah I
satisfied.
just wanted to
Because
I just wanted you to bite that. What?
if you take my cat away, you owe me that. Sorry, you owe me at least that.
So let me interject here because we started out with like I think there should be more extreme punishment, but I didn't specify that that's just for very like specific categories of crime where I don't think that you can ever make restitution or pay back society or the victim. So
Can you
that,
give an
in
example?
general,
A solid example.
yeah, I gave an example of that kid that shot up the school.
Okay.
That's an
Do you think
example.
that
Like
killing a lot of
he
people?
he can never pay back society for that. No chance.
I guess as far as payback, yeah, there's nothing you can do.
So, but I would say that's not most crime. That would be like exceptional. So I wasn't advocating extreme punishment for everybody. As part of justice, um, restitution doesn't necessarily have to be in the form of like punishment, and revenge doesn't necessarily not punishment, torture, and revenge doesn't have to be in the form of torture necessarily. You can have people. Part of the restitution process can be acts of service. It can be straight up financial. It can be you have to do this amount of work for the state to pay back, society in general. Like there's all sorts of ways other than like torturing people. I don't know a better word or killing them. You know what I mean? So there's definitely like justice that doesn't involve.
Wait, what do you think
like,
about like Nicholas
mistreatment.
Cruz? You know, like the Parkland shooting, like Nicholas Cruz. Are you you're aware of that?
I know that it happened. I don't know the kid.
Oh, okay.
I
Okay.
have an example, sort of. So
Yeah, go on.
something that I just remembered is something I realized when I was talking about Chris Chan and how people say that he deserved it, and all the way along the line, everybody said he's deserved how he was being treated, which is a similar mentality. I think it makes things worse. We could argue the similarities. That's not what I'm getting at. I was talking to someone about that and how he raped his like elderly mom with dementia at the end, and now he's in jail. And me and this person agreed, and this was so enlightening for me to hear. When I hear that he did that, I feel awful for her, but I also feel awful for him that he did that. And so like if someone kills people, I feel awful for them because they did that. Like they, if you do that kind of crime, you yourself are a victim of that too. Like you, like I genuinely, my heart bleeds for those people that do that. Like I don't.
Yeah, it's not.
Yeah, they have to like that. That's fuck. Like imagine being someone who did that. Like it's awful.
It's already kind of torture in itself to have to accept what you've done, and I don't think that adding on to that by putting somebody in a cage
you're never
really
gonna
helps.
be normal again.
Yeah.
After you rape your mom with dementia, ever.
Are you saying lava him? Her?
No,
I don't think so.
I'm joking.
I'm just saying that that's like
a joke.
He's permanently. That's part of his life forever now. Like that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, that's a joke.
I know. Okay.
You think he's aware enough to like actually feel tortured though? Him exclusively. I don't know if he's self-aware enough to be tortured by that.
But not what. That's not what I'm saying. That he feels tortured necessarily, because like tons of people don't feel tortured. But even if he doesn't feel tortured, he's demented. It's demented.
Yeah, I agree. 100%. Yeah.
We are in fact misgendering Christine. Christine's pronouns is she, her.
Honestly,
I
the only
believe that
reason
the transition was faulty.
The only reason I'm misgendering is because I get confused if like they went
Yeah, I
back.
fucked up. I fucked up too.
Also, what Smith said is that given Christian's specific case, I'm not sure how sincere it is or how insincere. I can't tell. So I'm not saying that to be like a total dick or anything.
Oh, no,
Like,
no,
I
she
sincerely just
transitioned
don't.
way
I
before
just,
this. She
I
okay,
just,
I just
I just
don't
was
know.
making
I
the
just
point that when someone does
sincerely don't
something
know.
fucked up, like when someone does something fucked up, I feel bad for them
Yeah.
because they did it. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Smith, somebody in your chat said that they think that you're looking at it in a utilitarian way, and I just wanted to bring up like I think I kind of disagree because I think that utilitarianism doesn't really value human life that much
You're right.
compared to like happiness to more people, and I think that greatest good for greatest amount of people. I think that in this situation we're actually forfeiting um, good feelings and happiness for the victims in order to preserve the life and happiness of a criminal, which I
Yeah.
think is a more virtuous position and less utilitarian.
I'm pretty sure
My-
there are different types of
It's-
utilitarianism, but I think you're still right. But like from a purely very strict type of utilitarianism that we're talking about here, like you could just genocide everybody with like inclinations that are bad, and you could eugenics people into perfect obedient unviolent perfect angels, and I don't think that would be good.
I was gonna say I'm taking the utilitarian position, but then I realized it could get way more extreme. But I would say my opinion is generally like ethical utilitarianism. Like, how can we make things the best for the cheapest?
I think before we close this, I think one thing about how prison can be kind of torture is that people fail to mention is that the slave waiver labor that they don't get paid enough to do to be able to like come back into the real world and actually be able to find adequate occupations to be able to find themselves. Most of them probably become homeless or something like that. They get into really unfair situations. So yeah, like I think in the very least, better pay to be able to at least live in a decent like little place while you're in prison. I don't know,
Mhm.
like.
Okay.
How do we feel about
Um,
that? Like the
I
kind
think
of the slave labor kind of aspect of this.
yeah, I think we all would agree. I mean, it seems like we all to some extent agree with changing the status quo of prison and kind of like reforming them a little bit. I think that we disagree on how we should do that and whether the punishment is necessary. But I think overall, I think we can agree that like
Yeah.
slave labor is pretty bad, and we shouldn't have prisoners doing that just because they committed
Yeah.
crimes.
So I actually
Yeah.
kind of like the current system. Like, I do like the idea of having to work for restitution.
Yeah, maybe.
Like, slave labor is really bad, and I like that the current system because it's coercive. You pretty much have to do it, but it's not technically slave labor, and you can opt out. So I kind of like that.
I think most people call it that, and I'm calling it is because the
You're cutting
prison is going to be really hard for
Yeah.
them to. How about now?
You're good.
It's a little bit better, I think.
Okay, sorry about that. It'll be hard to get settled. Yeah, I'll end it there.
What do we think
Yeah.
about just last thing? What do we think about like so I don't know if I believe in terms of repayment. I don't know if I believe in like repayment to a victim's family if you like kill their kid, because I view that more. I don't view that as like property damage. I view that as like just a human life. And that has value to the person that they killed, and a different kind of value to the family. But
What
in
about-
terms of actual property, like houses and stuff, I think that. What do you think about like an alimony type solution, where
Yeah,
you're paying for that over
maybe.
time? I think that might be like a reintegration plus maybe kind of an alimony thing, where
Uh,
you do have to pay some amount of reparations for the property.
Well, considering how I feel, and I understand that not everybody feels this way, I'm just extremely emotional regarding this shit. But considering that I believe that when you do some kind of crime like that, that you are a victim of yourself too, my mind immediately goes to like, well, you like there should be like insurance for that. There should be insurance for if you kill somebody. Like, like there should be insurance for if you blow up a building. And I know that's stupid and I know that's goofy. Kimbo earlier said that one of his ideas he understands is goofy. I understand that this is goofy, and I don't think it's practical, but that's where my heart and mind go. I want to
What do you think
protect
about
people from that.
Wait, so something that you're kind of bringing up that I think is interesting is like, so do you think that like somebody's situation? Okay, well, the first thing is, do you think that somebody's situations, and like lack of education provided to them by the government can lead them to have a less agency in committing a crime?
Hmm. Are you asking Smith that or everyone?
Well, I mean, you can answer if you like. I was asking Smith because he was the one who kind of brought up that idea.
Yeah, I'll
But-
let Smith answer because I have.
You answer.
I don't know.
I
I
think
can answer.
that
I don't know.
those are contributing factors. I don't like the idea of treating everybody different. So in my ideal world, the solution, like the response to the crime, is to solve the problem. So if the problem is that you are poor and desperate and you are surrounded by violence and then you commit a violent crime to get by, and that's all you know, you don't know how to do anything else. That's the environment you've grown into. That's what you've been lauded into. It's what you're surrounded by. Then the solution shouldn't be to hurt you. The solution should be to fix that.
So what do you think
In
about,
my perfect world, everybody can be treated equally in my perfect world, because the solution directly fixes the fucking problem. But if the solution is to actually make people suffer, then now it's even more of an ethical quandary, because it's not just changing this problem, it's changing the things that cause it.
Yeah. What do you think about like, imagine there's a guy who it seems like his financial, his economical situation kind of let him down. He grew up in a bad place. A lot of people from his like area turn out to commit crime, and he like set somebody's house on fire or something. He commits some kind of arson. Um, in that situation, do you think it would be okay to say that not in terms of like him his punishment or whatever, but I just mean like, who do you think should rectify that situation? Like, should the government say, hey, we fucked up, we should have given this guy a better situation, he should have known, it's our fault, we will pay for your house? Should the criminal have to pay for the house even though his situations kind of led him to do that? Like, would you say that he has the agency to make the decision in that? Like, what do you
This is
think?
absolutely a point at which I am not confident my ideas and my opinions are the best, but I'm confident that I feel them, but I don't know if they're the best. But the way I see this, personally, and my convictions are, I look at it the way we look at Walmart, the way Walmart looks at shoplifting, and considers that they factor that into their costs. They expect an amount of loss, and especially considering like when they introduce self checkout, even more shoplifting occurs, and they weigh that against the price of employing people to do every single cash register, and they make those calculations. And so I think that these types of crimes, in my opinion, they should be considered as an expected part of society that we account for.
Wait, so in that situation, are you saying that the government should factor it into their costs so that they can pay for it, or are you saying
Yeah.
that it should be on the family to just it's just unlucky for them?
No.
Have
It should be like the government expects this type of thing to happen, and we're ready for it. Like I mean, we don't want to plan for failure, but I mean, unless we had a perfect world where nobody commits crimes are going to happen. So
you would I know you said that you haven't like thought this fully through, but
I've thought
temporarily
it through,
right
but
now
I don't
provision
know if
yeah
it's great.
yeah no I understand. So you might right now say that some kind of like universal crime insurance provided by the government might be a good idea and incentivize them to stop crime and to prevent crime.
I don't think that. Well, first of all, if you can afford to fix it, like you should fucking pay, absolutely. But like, say you're like some like guy with $5,000 to his name, and you blow up $1 million building, and you make 15K a year. Yeah, like you're not
Like
getting
he's never gonna pay that back. Yeah.
right. He's never gonna pay that back. And I also don't think that we should give companies this loophole to just like, oh well, just like I'm gonna pay this homeless guy to blow up my building so that we get the money for our building.
Yeah.
But I think I when I just take a step back and I disregard those kind of situations, which are not good. I just look at it from like a
Assuming it was used in good faith and not like committing insurance fraud or anything.
yeah.
So we do have something like that. We do have victims funds. I think it's usually state by state. I would say like the general goal of society is to provide a safety net to everybody when their house blows up, whether it was crime or accident or act of God. Like the government should always help the person regardless of what
Yeah,
caused it.
I would agree with that.
But then also the person who committed the crime should also pay and make financial restitution. Also, while I'm talking, I just want to bring up that like the concept of like paying for killing somebody financially is like a pretty old and exists in like a bunch of cultures. Like it's not like a crazy idea. Like if you kill somebody, you have to
Yeah.
it does sound crazy though. I mean,
I
it's
oppose it for different
it's
reasons.
obvious. It's obvious. Like we thought of it. I thought of it instantly, but like it is kind of crazy to me too. I mean, it's obvious and it's fucking crazy. Like you can't bring the
Wait,
kid
can I-
back. So
I have an idea. So something that like okay, if your kid gets killed, I don't think any amount of money is gonna make that okay. And so I don't think that, and also I don't think that the kid is like property, and the kid's life has value not to a person but in of itself. So you can't really like pay for that. However, what I would be pro is what I would be for is like paying for the like therapy costs of the affected people, that kind of thing. Because I think that that would
I mean,
be a little
money
bit
is the closest thing we have to like a neutral, universal, good thing that you can do. So that's why they use money, just because you know what I mean. It's the most universal thing we have. So
Yeah, but would you
I
agree
think
that
it
like
makes
if you
total
kill
sense.
somebody's if you or if your kid dies, wouldn't you be pretty pissed off if you were given any kind of like amount of money? Because
No,
it's like
the money would. Yeah, I'd
it
probably
wouldn't
be pissed
matter.
off, but the money would be helpful. That's the point.
Um
Like, there's nothing we can do, but money.
yeah, but
helps.
then you're placing a value on that person's life, no?
Yes, and there's exact values.
But
I'm saying that
I
that-
you're
that
joking
is-
when you say that, but
no, that's a normal part of many legal systems. I'm pretty
Yeah.
sure that's like a normal thing in
We-
Islamic.
we also have like
modern
if you're
day Islamic
falsely
legal systems.
you're falsely
I think it makes sense.
incarcerated, we have it for that. Like if so, say you go to jail and like you were falsely incarcerated for like 6 years, like we have like amounts like per year that you're going to be like given money, and it's not enough, but
yeah,
we have that.
no, I understand that. I just think it's like I don't know if I agree with like paying somebody reparations for their for like a family member of this dying.
I think we
Even if it's a
probably
kid,
should.
I think it has weird implications about that person's value.
I think we probably should, but it won't bring the kid back. But we probably should.
Yeah, it definitely has
Okay.
weird implications, but I think it's the best we can do. So,
Yeah.
as if we're gonna, you know, if we're gonna do anything, if it's not just rehabilitation, then I think money is always a good component, and making sure the person pays that money.
Should we move on to the prostitution?
Yeah,
one?
yeah. I was
Alright.
just about to
This-
say that. I think
after
I think this has
I
come
think
to
we have a bunch
general.
of more topics, but we should just do one more because this is gonna.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
I have to go really soon as well, so I might have to leave mid conversation, but I want to start this off. So the third, yeah, so the last topic that we were doing is about prostitution. We might agree. I kind of forget what everybody's position on this was, but I'm just gonna we can just start out. So I'm just gonna ask all the questions now, and then I think that we're pretty good at organizing these generally. So the main four questions are: Should prostitute or three, I guess. Should prostitution be illegal? Should it be legal? Should it be decriminalized? What should we do about it? From a legal perspective, the second question is prostitution immoral? Is it wrong? Is that like a subjective thing? And then the third thing is prostitution self-harm?
Can I go first?
I'll
Here?
open the floor
Go.
to I'm just opening the floor.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Hey, Imbo, go start.
Prostitution, 100% moral. It's silly to say that's immoral. Should be 100% legal. Should be totally normalized. No, it's not self-harm. It's the exact same as like any other type of like entertainment or service work. If it's legal to give somebody massages, it should be legal. Jerk them off, and ain't no harm in it.
Do you want me to go next?
Whenever you want.
Yeah,
Just
go ahead.
you guys
All
work
right.
it out.
Should prostitution be illegal or legal or illegal? It should be legal. I think sex workers should be licensed, and I think the brothels should be probably the main place, if not the only place, where paid sexual engagement should occur. I think there should be a lot of regulations. But generally, yeah, prostitution should be legal. It can be self-harm, but generally, I don't think it is self-harm as like a straight factor. Like, I don't think it's automatically just self-harm, but it can be. I don't think it's immoral either.
I believe it can be self-harm. I think that it is not immoral, absolutely not immoral. But I think that, like I say, it can be self-harm because I think it's very dangerous for both the sex worker and for the client. I think it's just a very dangerous situation. It's the type of situation you can come out of as both the sex worker or the client. More danger for the sex worker. Type of situation you can come out of with a memory that haunts you for the rest of your life, or just changes you for the rest of your life.
Whoa! How is it dangerous? What are the dangers here?
Okay, so the example you gave of a like a massage with a fucking hand job is very unintimate, and that doesn't send off major alarm bells of danger in my head. But when it's just like that, because you're making it sort of like a corporate kind of like, or I don't know about corporate, it's just unhuman. Like, you're just like a machine, you just fucking jerk them off, and I'm rubbing your back, I'm jerking you off. But usually it's not that. I think that it's going to be like a very intimate thing, and there's going to be extreme level of closeness, and even more so than a therapy session, which is something that we also consider dangerous and has like a lot of ethical implications, or not implications, but we create ethics to protect people from. I believe that in an ideal world, you should have to go to college to be a sex worker. I don't mean like a porn. I don't mean a porn star. I mean like in the room fucking sex work. I think that.
I think,
but that's not going to happen.
I think that with porn stars too. Yeah.
You could do a course just to help protect yourself, because the thing that a therapist learns is how to protect themselves from the client and how to protect the client from themselves. And that's the specific skill set that you should have as a sex worker: how to protect them from you and how to protect yourself from them. We should obviously have like regulations and protections, like legally and like structurally, for the sex workers. But yeah.
So I
to
think
be clear,
that's
if without that educational part, what would you like? What does that change from your perspective? Like, with it, is it more moral? Is it immoral without that? How does that work?
I don't think it's immoral, but
Immoral to me.
I don't think it's immoral, but I think it's dangerous. That's all. I think danger's okay. But we should know that it's dangerous.
So I'm kind of dismissive of those dangers there. Like I was a coffee shop worker for like a pretty long time. A big part of that is being friendly to every person, being like, "Hey, how's your day?" And they tell me about their day. They tell me about their mom getting cancer. They tell me about their son having a wedding, all this shit. And like that's like, I didn't need a license for that. And I think if people do get emotionally involved with it beyond that, then that's like a personal problem. The same way.
What was the job you had?
Emotionally involved. Barista.
You were a what? You were a barista? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Well. Okay. Hold on. I understand what you're saying, but I think that what I'm saying is that it's different from being a barista. Saying that it like when you are naked,
The intimacy.
like
The
imagine
intimacy.
imagine if you were a barista, except to get the coffee you had to rub their dick. Like
Yeah, Starbucks.
um,
They give us hand jobs, like in
yeah,
Idiocracy.
yeah.
Wait,
It's
I'm barista.
can I summarize
see,
my position really quick? Just
Yeah, go
it's
ahead.
I
sure,
just
yeah,
just so
yeah.
that, and you guys can I just think like maybe it might bring in a new idea of what to talk about. So okay, do I think prostitution should be legal? I don't know if I don't know if it should be fully legal. I definitely think it should be decriminalized. I kind of agree with Smith and Emery here, where it's like I think that some amount of education or some amount of like license should be involved there because I think that that protects them. I
Wait,
don't
wait, wait.
think that I don't
Okay,
think.
I'll
Oh
wait till
yeah,
you're
go
done.
on.
Oh, wait.
Oh okay,
Okay,
okay.
just I don't think it should be involved. I think that there is like a certain type of sex therapist. I forget what they're called. They're like really hard to get, and but like they have like certain training. I think that should be more normal, but I don't think that all sex workers should have that because it's just not practical. Okay, sorry.
Okay.
I think
Um,
it should be.
I think that prostitution isn't inherently immoral, but I think that it can be immoral. I think that like allowing yourself to be abused for money is unethical. And then that ties into is prostitution self. Oh, and then sorry, and then also for the illegal legal thing, if you make it illegal, obviously I'm against that because I'm against prison. So like it doesn't make sense to lock up prostitutes. Um, decriminalized for sure. Legal is well, you know, with that one caveat. And then is
Do you
it
think it's
self harm? I think. Wait, so, go on.
No, go continue. I was asking, you think it's a net negative in general?
Um, prostitution being legal or just prostitution in
No,
general?
prostitution in general. Like you're saying, it shouldn't be criminalized because that's kind of like an overreaction, but it is a negative.
I think that having prostitution being legal does have negative implications to some extent because I think that in the society that we live in where women are socialized to think that they're only good for sex and that women are already hypersexualized, I think that instead of allowing women to use that to their own advantage, I think that we should be trying to change the whole system. So I think that to some extent, like with OnlyFans, a woman deciding, hey, I'm gonna play inside the system that inherently works against me, isn't a good idea, and it's kind of just allowing yourself to be abused for money, which I don't think is moral because it is extremely harmful for their mental health.
Everybody gang up on this guy disagrees.
Yeah, I disagree with you. I disagree with you. I disagree with you because
It could be a men's issue as well.
Okay.
OnlyFans is an evil company. And pimps are often like, I mean, you can argue that pimps help protect the women or whatever, but like that's not fucking. It would be best if like sex workers had a reputable company or like representation and protections from like some non fucked up organization like OnlyFans.
Yeah, all of the negatives
I
come
think
from
the
Yeah,
ideal
I agree with
scenario,
Yeah.
the ideal scenario to me would be to have like, you know how like you got your offices for like your mental health clinics, your therapy and stuff like that. I think you need buildings like companies like this for prostitution. You need to have it safely regulated. You need to have your sex workers be licensed and understand what they're doing, what they're involved with, and your clientele should be able to go in there, learn about how it works, learn the rules around how to safely guide through this whole process in a healthy manner for both parties. And I think it needs to be totally like kind of like equalized in terms of like women should feel safe going in and getting a male prostitute or whatever. Like I think it should be just kind of regular. I think it should be just this open kind of thing. Like I'm kind of tired of the like, oh, prostitution is like illegal, but if you film it, you know, then it's legal because it's for porn and stuff like that. Like I'm tired of how it is and how unsafe it is. Anyone, both on the receiving end, like the client, or on the other end, like the actual sex worker, like how unsafe it is right now.
Okay.
Yeah, I think
wait, can I
That's more
clarify?
immoral.
I just want to clarify really quick. I also don't think that prostitution or like things like that are inherently immoral, but I do think that the societal framing around it and women seemingly being incentivized financially to open themselves up for abuse, I think that makes it immoral. Just wanted to clarify.
so.
Yeah, I
don't-
think the immoral parts in the self harm would be significantly lowered if my thing happened. Sorry.
It's
Go
okay.
ahead,
I
Cam.
was just gonna say I don't see. You keep mentioning abuse. Like I don't see where does the abuse come in? Like what is the abuse here? Are you talking like men that just like to hit women to get off?
No, okay, wait. Do you think that like dehumanizing somebody is harmful?
Dehumanizing somebody. What is dehumanizing somebody?
I would say that
is it
dehumanizing.
dehumanizing to get fucked? I don't think so. I think it's
No.
actually humanizing.
I think it depends on the situation. So something that I brought up is like something that I brought up in an earlier conversation was that there's a difference between sex for the purpose of intimacy and sex for the purpose of like objectification. So, for example, like if you like hug somebody, you're not objectifying them. But you still hug them, and that's still like that still feels good for you because it's like this moment of intimacy, and you're acknowledging each other's humanity in that situation. I think. However, and I think that all that part kind of plays in with sex as well. But I would say that there are sexual encounters that you can have where it's purely for one person's enjoyment, and they're dehumanizing or objectifying the other person without kind of sharing that intimacy. And I think the prostitution totally opens that up, opens it up for that to happen. Which that's where the abuse comes in because I think that. I think
I don't
that
agree.
dehumanizing somebody and objectifying a person is harmful to that person and is immoral.
I see what
and can
I
be
see what
abusive.
I don't.
see what you're saying. I,
I
think
don't-
like
I don't
that's
agree.
a interesting concern.
It's
You
not.
don't.
It's not get 'em.
I think
You-
that
wait.
I believe that the objectifying situation is actually probably. I mean, unless you're like hurting someone, you're like fucking them in a way that's gonna hurt them or something. Like the objectifying situation is usually going to be less harmful and less dangerous, like I said, than the intimate situation. And it's the intimacy that makes it dangerous. Like sex workers get fucking stalked and shit. That's because of the intimacy. It's not because they're like, oh, you're my object. No, it's because there's some fucking psychic connection now, and you're linked in a fucking intimate way, and people become obsessed. So I think it is explicitly the intimacy, like that is the problem. Being paid for intimacy, and that's why I think it's like therapy in that way.
Partially
wait,
agree with Smith.
Okay.
Okay.
Wait,
Yeah,
do you
stuff
think
like this does happen with therapists too.
just since I'm being mass disagreed with here, I want to kind of justify my position a little bit more.
Okay.
Okay, so you've been following like the Mr. Girl Destiny drama a little bit.
Yeah.
I'd
No,
like
never
just I
heard
want
of it.
to.
I think everyone here, to some extent, yeah.
To some extent. Okay, so I just wanted to bring that in. So one of the reasons that Mr. Girl left the community is he thinks that the subreddit is abusive. So to some extent, being objectified slash dehumanized slash like treated in a certain way is abusive to that person, right? So I think
No.
that to some extent, if you're as Smith was saying, like some amount of education to protect yourself is required. I think that without that level of education, it can just be like you getting paid to be dehumanized and objectified, as well as like sexually used over and over and over and over and over again, and that's your job, which I think is extremely mentally harmful.
No. If you want to see mentally harmful objectification, go to any fast food restaurant. that is objectification.
Yeah.
That's inherent to
Yeah,
most businesses, though.
I think that the
Yeah,
harm in the
I think it's a different level.
it's like I think it's like the public thing, and I think that makes it so much more worse. The accusations of abuse online and using like streamers using each other like that. If that was done like in like offline or something, it's like not anything. Yeah.
What I mean, what I mean is the dynamic of you getting paid to you getting paid at the cost of your mental health. I don't know if I agree that that's a moral thing to do.
Oh yeah, but why
That's
you're
what work
assuming?
Well, hold
is.
on.
Wait. No. You're
Hospital
assuming.
workers and
You're
like
assuming.
therapists have to deal with the cost of their mental health.
Yes,
So like,
you're
I
assuming
think
that
like
mental health.
it's about minimizing that kind of impact. Like, and if you have it regulated and you have like a well-oiled
I
machine
agree.
where
I agree
everyone's,
with it
you
being
know,
regulated. Yes.
sure,
So
yeah.
I agree. And then I think that to some extent, like, yes, if you're being working 12-hour shifts at a hospital, that can be mentally like harmful to you. But I wouldn't say that
Agreed.
it's I just wouldn't say that it's the same thing because one is you have a lot more autonomy in that situation. Like you cannot be a hospital worker, but I think that a lot of the time when you're doing prostitution, even if you wanted to choose like halfway through like sex that you didn't want to do it, I feel like you wouldn't really be able to do that.
I
Like
feel
I just think
like
that it's
I
a
would,
lot
I can,
it's a lot more harmful when somebody's like fucking you and is inside you. Like I think
I
that's just
think
totally
I can
different.
make, I think I can make
good
an
point.
argument that like in a lot of ways, depending on what you're doing at a hospital, it can be more mentally draining and more kind of traumatizing in a lot of ways for what you're doing at a hospital,
Maybe, but you're totally
saving
less
people's lives.
vulnerable.
Like
Like you're literally
I-
you're naked and you're opening yourself up to another person. I think that's like
hmm,
one of the most vulnerable things you can do.
Intimate.
Which
I
totally, which
suppose
yes,
I
yes.
suppose I see what you're saying there. I guess it comes down to like okay, like I said, I think like when somebody's like more vulnerable and like if somebody wants to be a sex worker, like regulated and all that, I think like I think we should allow the person to be able to go in that and just be like, okay, I know what I'm getting myself into. And if it's not for me or whatever, like I think like then after a while they can find a way to like move on from that job or whatever. They can be licensed though or whatever and know how to do that properly. I think it minimizes, like as it stands right now, it minimizes the kind of harm that it is currently like at right now. Like I think it's much more harmful as it is in my than it would be in my hypothetical realm.
Okay.
I'm
I don't need you
completely
guys to agree with
disagreeing
me.
with you. I'm
I don't
totally
know.
disagreeing with you here.
I
So
don't need you guys to agree
if you
with
want
me. Do you understand where I'm coming? Do you understand my position?
Oh
No.
yeah, no. I get
Yeah.
what you're saying. Yeah, I personally understand. I disagree with it, but I also understand why you would think that, and I think
Okay,
I can
that's fine.
empathize with that a lot.
Okay, so I think that you're saying that the system as it is.
like,
Wait.
guys,
Can
real
you
quick,
let Kimbo just finish it
guys,
and
I
then you can
just
say what
wanted
you
to
want
say
to say?
I'm super
Sorry.
Just
quick.
because he was,
Super quick.
I interrupted
Go ahead.
him. Yeah.
If you want to see vulnerable, go to a Burger King in the ghetto that has like bulletproof glass and an armed guard because there's so many fucking fights and shootings there. I'm not joking about the objectification of fast food people. Like, if you want
Oh,
to see
yeah.
vulnerable, that's a vulnerable job.
I think that definitely is the case, but I just think it's a lot different when like that's like so clearly wrong and like so clearly not part of the job description, but in prostitution it's like part of the course, you know?
Yeah,
No, okay.
working at Burger King
There's
is
two
part of the
things.
course.
There's two things going on here. You're saying that the system as it is and the world we live in makes it means there's going to be these problems that are going to arise, and because it's not perfect, you're going to be opening up to these dangers and stuff, which I think is answered by like something like what Amory was saying, like where you've got like licensure and stuff, in structure. But I think behind that, you secretly think that sex is just a little bit harmful. You're just a little bit anti-sex.
Um, let me think about that. You guys can keep talking. I need to consider that.
I agree with Smith. I sense puritanism all over this conversation.
Because if you didn't have that, because the reason I say that is because if you didn't have that, then you would be satiated by Emery's system that solves these
Wait,
systemic problems.
I think I am satiated by Emery's system. I was just saying that without that, it is immoral, and I think that you guys were kind of implying that that sex work in itself isn't immoral, and I think that
As it is currently, I think
I think that it is as it is currently for sure.
as
I
it
don't
is
know.
currently, the way I'll make it. I'll differentiate what I mean and I think CMACL means. What I mean when I say I think it's immoral as it stands, I think the way it's run is immoral. I don't think the actual act is inherently immoral. Like, yeah, that's how I see it.
Yeah, OnlyFans is absolutely an immoral company. But like selling nudes is not immoral. So that's how I feel too.
Would it be okay to say like this system around selling nudes is immoral?
I think you could make a system like that possibly moral. I don't even know about
Yeah, no,
that.
no, no,
Right.
no. I agree.
Okay, right.
No,
The
no, I
more I
agree that
think
you
about
can
it, the
make
more I
it
think
moral.
it's like inherently going to be
We should say
immoral. But I
this.
don't know for sure.
We should say this. Most sex work is immoral. Most sex work is immoral. Right? Like
Immoral?
right now.
I
most-
can agree with that.
right
yeah,
now-
I
No,
can
I
agree.
totally
No, wait.
Yes.
You're gonna change your mind in 2 seconds. Okay,
It's possible.
most sex work is immoral because most of like if we're like in totality like around the world and shit, not in like a big like metropolitan city maybe, but like like in totality, most sex work is human trafficking and women that are desperate and which is going to be in metropolitan areas too, desperate and that's their last resort sort of thing, or they don't like know anything else. It's definitely immoral. A situation that I thought about earlier is it's definitely immoral when like a girl like starts like even disregarding the problems with OnlyFans. It's immoral if you start like selling nudes at 18 and then that becomes who you are and that's what your skill set is and you don't really know anything else. I've seen it like fuck people up. And so I think that there's something immoral about that. And I think the act of turning to sex work out of desperation or need to survive, I don't think you should have to turn to sex work to survive. But as an idea, as a concept, it's not immoral in itself, but it shouldn't be. I don't think it should be like a normal job.
Okay, I think I agree with you there. I have to go. I think you guys know where to go from here. If you want more, I think like a lot of Lav's positions on sex work and like why it's immoral, I think I agree with. So if you want more information as to why I think that, I think sometimes she has good takes on that. I think that what where the conversation is going is what you should do about it, and like I think you're gonna disagree on how we should legalize it. But yeah, thanks for the discussion, guys.
Yeah, thanks for
You're
sending this
welcome.
out, Michael.
Yeah, of course. All right,
Appreciate
I'll see you guys
it.
later. Yep.
Yeah,
See you
All
later.
right, enjoy.
All right, I
Yeah.
will enjoy.
All
Just,
right. I
Emery,
think.
do you agree with Smith here?
What exactly?
That the majority of sex work currently is immoral.
Wait,
OnlyFans
that's not
is
what I'm saying.
immoral.
What I'm saying is that to have to use sex work as a way to survive, as a means of like surviving, is way worse than having to do like fast food. Even though like there might be like danger of crime in the fast food industry in that area, it's just like it's because of the intimacy involved. It shouldn't be something you have to do.
I think there's a way it can psychologically harm you a lot more, but I think we have to consider too that working in a dead end job where we feel like we're going nowhere is psychologically harmful in its own way. Like a small, like drudge of like every day, like you go in a place you don't want to be in. You work with people you probably don't want to work with.
There's no
I
more
would say
dead-end job than sex work.
there's the intimacy. What the intimacy is. Well, some people actually like sex work, so I don't even know if I would define it as for sure dead end.
No, when I say dead end, because like so yeah, maybe you like it, but like you're gonna have to work with people. you don't like, you're like sometimes like you're not gonna always
Oh
want
yeah,
to
yeah,
do,
yeah, yeah. Just
and
yeah.
you're only gonna get older, and so your value as a sex worker is only gonna decrease. Even if your skills
That's
get
true.
better, I really believe strongly that the value of a sex worker should be on their skills. But we have no way to assess that or prove that. Like there should be like, if you're like hiring a sex worker, like there should be like some kind of like website. It's like this person's really good at blowjobs, and like
There is
people have
that.
great, like
There's
there
tons of
is
those.
there
There's
there
tons
is
of
that.
those.
There,
Yeah.
there. Okay, well, that's the way it should be, because like I think just valuing them on their appearance is like stupid, because you're talking about, like, I think they should be respected for their skill, and not like most people aren't even that good at sex. So in that world, where that's where our values are, then going to a sex worker because like I just want a good blowjob, that makes so much more sense.
Yeah.
Like, but I don't. Yeah, I don't think that's.
So
I would say a lot. Yeah, I would say a lot of these companies and prostitution right now are run immorally. But I would say the more moral at the moment is how Burger King or Walmart or some garbage ass dead end job like that is being technically more ethically run than prostitution. Because with prostitution, you're kind of at like an impasse. I don't know.
But I'm not saying how it's run. What I'm saying that you're not touching on is that I think that having to do sex work, as like say like you're poor and you want to not be poor, and the only way for you to make a living is sex work, is that's your solution to your problem. That's a fucked up solution. It's not the same as flipping burgers. But like, if you're fine, like if I've been considering making some fucking porn, because it'd be fun. It'll be an interesting aside for my creative content. So it is nothing more about that. It's not the same situation though.
I don't know. When you really break it down, though, like one's more intimate, sure, and more kind of revealing, and it's kind of weird. But like flipping burgers for somebody and making their meal, you know,
That doesn't put you at risk for
little
STDs.
braiding in
Someone
a way.
said. Yeah.
I'm sure can.
It's-
When
uh,
an In-N-Out
you
opens
can get several
near
other
me,
things. I'm sure of that. Yeah.
an In-N-Out opened near me like a year or two ago, and it was like a big thing. It was smack in the middle of COVID, and there was like a 3-hour line to like go to In-N-Out, and something like 50 employees there got COVID in like some very short period of time. So
Sexually transmitted
you
COVID?
it's not sexually transmitted, but you can get sick. You can get sick.
Okay, but yes, but that's not confronting the fucking thing I'm saying. I'm saying that the act of doing sex in itself is such a loaded. The reason that you can't fuck your therapist, the reason that that's just a big no-no, is because it has major psychological implications. I don't think, and maybe you disagree, but I just think that that's a fact. So I think that having to do sex as a necessity for money is not a good standard. To have a world or a society where women resort to sex work to get by is not okay. If women never have to resort to sex work, if they choose it anyway, that's fine.
Yeah, so I was kind of waiting to see if Emery would prop you up, because I totally disagree with this. I don't think sex is intimate. I don't think sex work is a bad career. I don't think it's a career that is. I don't think it's the bottom of the totem pole. That's a bad phrase. I don't think it's the worst possible thing to do when you're desperate. I think the worst possible thing to do is like recycling mercury in a dump in a garbage dump all day. So I think it's fine. I don't think that sex work is intimate by nature. I think people can make it that, but then that's a personal problem. And people do that with everything anyways.
Okay, I'm gonna amend my thing. Just hearing you say that, like, I'm sort of turning my mind a little bit. I think that it is, if you create a system like Emery was saying, where like the sex workers are trained to protect themselves emotionally and protect their clients emotionally, like I already said, then yeah, and it's like they could be selective with who they allow to be their clients and stuff. Then I guess you could account for a lot of what I'm talking about. But
I was about to ask,
steps.
how many clients is like the more safeguarded ethical approach for a prostitute? Like, well, with a therapist, how many clients are they allowed to have? Like 2,
don't
3,
know.
4?
No,
what's
no,
what's
way
the
more
number
than
to
that.
stop at?
Way more than that.
What's the
dude.
number
Like,
to stop? Well, my concern is what's the number to stop at?
okay, I'm gonna Google this right now because I'm curious. How many clients do therapists often have?
The amount of hours there is in a day.
We also got to consider how exhaustive being a prostitute would be.
I don't know.
I don't know. I feel like
Throughout
that's like a job that require. I would recommend a prostitute having like 2 or 3 clients max, depending on like
Yeah.
hours. I
So
guess
this
I don't know.
says average if you're a therapist, 40-hour work week is up to 30 clients a week.
Yeah,
So-
see, it would have to be
I'm-
structured way differently than how a therapist's job is structured, for sure.
Like throughout this whole conversation, like I just have in my mind like images of like kids in Bangladesh like sewing T-shirts like 12 hours a day. I imagine like people in the Philippines mining sulfur for like 30 cents an hour or something like that, where they're getting like horrible respiratory diseases. And it's
Right.
like, I don't know if OnlyFans is
Right.
immoral.
But you're thinking of like third world countries and shit. But if you think of what the sex work would look like in those countries, then it shifts from being like, someone with an app on their phone or whatever driving over, like you think of here, and it changes into like a bunch of sweaty, filthy girls shoved in a van, and like some guy kicks one out because someone like hired them to come over and like give them a girl for an hour, and then they'd come back and the girl's like on the side of the road and they put her back in the van.
You should never be allowed to physically attack somebody that is doing a service for you. Your employer should never be able to force you in service. Your employer should, yeah, that's pretty much it. I mean, these are common things everywhere. It's not unique to sex work. And so even though these things do exist in sex work and they are bad, they also do exist everywhere else and are bad everywhere else. I don't see anything unique to it.
So here's the problem I have is that even in my scenario, is that this kind of job is bound to be somewhat self-harm. I think at a certain point, it's bound to be like that. Because, on the standard, and I know you're shaking your head in disagreement, but think about it through this lens. You could go into a job and really like the job, right? Like the job's awesome. You love doing it. It's your passion. But inevitably, there's going to be that day where you're like, man, I'm not feeling it. Don't want to do this shit. I don't even know if I like this shit. And I think if you go into prostitution, that's the one major concern I have is, are you self-harming by that point? Are you kind of like, I don't know about raping yourself, but like there's got to be a word for like, besides self-harm. Like there's some extent where it's like,
Yeah.
man, like that kind of sucks, doesn't it? Like if you're really
that's
not
what I'm
feeling
saying.
it, you're kind of doing that to yourself,
That's what
Like, and
what I'm saying.
that's my main, that's my main issue, I think.
Well, yeah, but like Kimbo is saying that I always fuck because for so long I've been calling you Kimbo.
No, Cambo is the long form.
Cambo.
Kimbo is the short form. You can call me
Okay,
Kimbo.
okay, but then I'm doing it right. So yeah, you're saying that all jobs are like that and all jobs have that potential and suck, but I'm saying that I think that sex work just is more I in particular like in-person sex work or like porn where you have to do stuff in front of a camera. Like if you're self-publishing porn, maybe it's different depending on the pressure from the clients, I guess. I don't know, probably, maybe.
So I'm Googling right now. I'm trying to find out what portion
It's just more
people,
volatile. That's all.
what portion of people in the U.S. become occupationally disabled by their job. I'm thinking of like roofers whose like knees give out when they're like 50.
Good point.
People hunched over machines where they get fucking horrible back problems. Amazon workers where they
football players that get like head conditions or whatever.
Poor
stuff
football
Exactly.
players.
Yeah, well,
boxers
yeah,
that get fucking Alzheimer's at 40.
I mean, we say that sarcastically. They make a lot of money, but there is working conditions that really fuck them over in the long game where they can't even enjoy that money properly.
Yeah, it's just the game of capitalism, baby. I don't see anything special about sex work. Neither intimacy nor self-harm danger.
I guess your general point And I would agree with your point if your point is this. Let me try to steelman it. Is your general point is that like most working conditions have something that like drains you of something, like it takes away something from you inevitably. Like it's got to like beat you down in some way. Is that your general argument?
Yeah, most people live with working conditions that drain them. Yes.
Okay. I guess the determining factor for us to agree with you fully is could we compare that to a psychological harm in a sexual manner? Like is that inherently worse than like anything else? I don't think I can disagree or agree fully
Yeah,
on either end.
I can't decide.
It feels weird to do either or yeah.
It's
I
like
get-
I was working in a nursing home and I watched people die and like get worse and worse dementia and die slowly and stuff like that. It's pretty bad.
Yeah, do you feel that impacted you psychologically? I wanted to
Probably.
bring up your previous career because I feel like that's something that's like mentally difficult.
Yeah.
Did you have to like change the diapers of old people? Watch
No.
old people that okay. Did you have to watch old people that their families never visited and they just fucking cry
Yeah.
in the corner?
And it's
Yeah.
like begging, like, can I go, like, can you like help me go outside? We're like always understaffed. Obviously, like every part of the place is understaffed. It's just like I remember like multiple bunch of times like an inmate would ask if like they could like go outside because like they need like a chaperone or something, and it's like I just can't. Like I literally can't stop doing my job. I can't like go chaperone you to be outside. You'd have to get someone to come that do that for you. You're gonna have to wait for, and then just like slowly die inside and stuff. And
Okay, I think I said everything I need to say. If I didn't convince you guys, I didn't convince you guys.
you didn't convince
think,
me, but I've already know your argument. I've heard it before, but I'm not convinced. I'm not sure you're wrong, but I'm not convinced. You know.
I'm thinking Kayembo for me. I'm convinced by Kayembo's general argument about like I think almost every job occupation in some way have a drain. Let's just call it a draining effect. Like it takes away something from you, something you value, and like you can be at pure exhaustion, even if you love it. So I guess at the end of the day, I think Smith is indecisive, and you can clarify if I'm wrong here. I think you're indecisive on whether or not like the sexual nature of what's being taken away with you. If you feel taken advantage of,
I figured it out.
Is that worth it to you? Yeah. Okay. Go ahead.
Sex work is so fucking easy, okay, and that's the problem, because desperate people are going to resort to this very easy thing. And put themselves on the line, like it's just a lot of harm for how easy it is. Like being a roofer is not like you don't just, oh man, I don't know what I'm gonna do. I guess I'm just gonna have to try being a roofer. You know, like it's I guess maybe for some people, but it's just for women. It's just a big like fails. For women, sex work is just well. I guess I'll just fuck for money. I don't know what else I'm gonna do.
I would say it'd be psychologically difficult for some women, not all women, obviously. But the actual act would be easy mostly. So like psychologically difficult to be like with someone that you're not really attracted to or intimate with on that level.
I'm just saying it's unacceptable that women have to resort to sex work in particular. Like as like that's like across the board, women have this issue where it's just, oh well, you can always just sell your body for sex.
They don't have to. It's a preferable career. That's why they do it.
I don't
over
think
other things.
Is. I don't.
I'm one for all. I view this in the same light of like I don't think I think men do this too for women, but I would also view it in the same lens of like how women would want to be treated. Like, do you really want to do that as a profession? Like, I don't know. Like, is that the other thing is like, if my dream scenario happened where it was regulated properly, would this would the work to take the work you have to go into to become a sex worker, a licensed one officially, would it be worth it long end? Like, would you want to do this long term? I don't think a lot of people would.
You got to be an apprentice to a master hooker for 7 years. I like it. Just not legislating. That would have to be to make your own guild.
I don't know, man. I don't know. It's reminding me of the whole OnlyFans like disciple thing where you get the money for like the thing with OnlyFans, like you refer new people, and then you get like money for like how well they do, and so it encourages people to like get more people involved and groom more young girls into OnlyFans and mentor them to make sure that they get money so that you can get more money. So it's like a fucking black hole sucking women into it. Yeah, I don't like it. I don't like it.
Yeah, I mean, I can see where you're coming from, but
Man.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a difficult one, but yeah, it was a good conversation.
All right. I think that I can say for myself that I am the best sex worker that I'll ever have.
Yeah. Do all the work you need
put
to.
a lot of
give
work
yourself
in.
money.
I put a
give yourself
lot
time,
of work
yeah.
in.
a lot of good work. I'm done. I'm all set.
Yeah.
Any last words for you guys?
no. Thank everybody watching.
Thank you for watching.
I had fun. I just quote retweeted this. And obviously my Twitter account isn't exactly the most popular, unless like it's a bunch of haters because I
What is your
argue on
Twitter?
Twitter a lot. But I promoted it anyway. My Twitter is Emery __3. You can find me there.
All right. Emery __3.
Yeah, excellent
And
panel. I loved it.
I would like to say that I'm working on something very special. It is a video documentary and guide on intermittent fasting for 24 hours. And I'm just going to say that it's going to be a masterpiece, and it is an extreme roller coaster. And I'm really excited about it.
Awesome. Okay, Imba, do you have anything to promote?
No, I am just a normal person.
Just like some random dude, just like me, except for yeah. Okay, cool, awesome.
Just like any
Alrighty.
sex worker. All right, let's go.
True.
Nice talking to you guys.
All right, see you guys.
Bye.
Good time. Later.
All right. Thanks for showing up to the Smeth Lab. Have a good day. Night. Smeth.